waiting for it to develop. Wasn't there. Now challenges. Puts it up. Oh, what a shot. Up and under Timmy.
Welcome to SicEm365 Radio.
Simple player-led team, and those guys didn't want to lose for each other. They wanted to play for each other, and they're winners. They're experienced. They're tough. They love one another.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Now with 5. Mitchell wants another 3, and he finds it.
Ooh. And you want him to play football, Grant.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Kispert now driving and rejected, and Baylor's on a break.
Smart move here. Little delay.
Flagler. Splash.
Killer.
Have you downloaded the SicEm365 Radio app? Do it today on the App Store and Google Play.
Wow. Shua showing a little outside shot.
Goodness, Big Jonathan nailing some shots, too.
Now, here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, here we go on this spring lake day. It's the first round of the Masters. It's the second one since November. The last time they played in April, the traditional week of April, Tiger Woods won it. A lot has happened since that time. The course, there was a time, and if we, by the way, have technical issues, it's not because of Cole or Jack. Armstrong is not going to pay attention to a damn thing we say today on the show because he's got every flat screen on some sort of angle of watching the Masters. It's almost like when Baylor was playing in the tournament. We kind of were always glancing over there. Yeah. So Armstrong's basically, he's toast.
Hey, I came in here, and there's one that's just an angle of people's shoes. Different shoes. He was watching that.
Yeah, just looking at that. So here's what's happened. And we, by the way, I got a neat quote from a football staff member about Ika Apu. But the Masters is going on, and Bear Ridge is our sponsor of our Masters coverage. But remember when Tiger won early on, and he dominated Augusta National, and they Tiger-proofed Augusta National because Tiger was toying with them. And it probably worked out. I never remember them Tiger-proofing it for Bubba Watson. I don't remember them Tiger-proofing it for Jordan Spieth. But they have made this course, it's diced up. The greens are hard. They're not holding. And this is only the first round. It's not even yet too windy. But, there's a couple of guys 3 or 4 under. But we'll update you on the leaderboard at times today. Dustin Johnson double bogeyed 18, the defending champion. Jordan Spieth an even. And however he plays, you'll know based on the technical part of this show because that means that Armstrong is so focused. Chuck Cooperstein responded to my Tiger proof how hard this is. Greens are 3rd and 4th round crusty, almost impossible to spin and hold it. And when they're as fast as they are, you have a golf course that's plenty hard, but will still reward good shots. Now, if we get wind, then it will get really, really fun. So that's going on. We'll update you on occasion from the Masters. Art Strickland will join us from Augusta National at 5. Craig Smoak, Paul Catalina. I'm David Smoak. Cole's here. Jack is here. We've got the fraternity here. Armstrong Sims is here, as I mentioned, only physically. Now, from Jason Soley on my Twitter feed earlier today. The Bears are still national champions. Good morning. The Masters is underway. The Azaleas are in full bloom. BU football spring practice is happening. Craig will be there this afternoon. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Enjoy the day.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. By the way, Smokey, speaking of the greens, did you see Tyler Scafari? Is that how I say his name right? Armstrong? Strafacci. He had, this is how fast they are. He on his approach at a par 3,
Putted off the green?
Put it off the green, and then back about 15 yards, it looked like, into the fairway. It got so slick.
Remember one year Tiger won it when he was on, I think it might have been 13 or 15. I think it would have been 13. It wouldn't have been 15. Where he putted it from like the right side of the green. It went off the green and almost rolled in the creek. And it was a year he won it. He had the chip out of the sandy kind of part of the creek as well. All right, Craig, I had this quote from earlier, a football coaching staff member. Ika Apu.
Apu Ika.
Apu-Ika is an absolute freak show. He has been, the guys love him. And, we don't know, he's a big guy, but you've been to a couple of practices. How is he Bravion Roy big plus maybe a little bit bigger?
He's bigger than Bravion Roy. He's taller. He's probably wider, larger than Bravion Roy is. He's just an overall bigger guy. Bravion Roy was, pretty thick, but he was short in the grand scheme of things. So, yeah, I think Apu's got a little extra height on Bravion, and, he's a very energetic guy from what I've seen. He's very involved. He's not, you wouldn't point him out and be like, hey, that's the new guy, because he kind of fits weird. He's just one of the guys. And, we get time to watch him, but we only get a certain amount of time.
Right.
We get warm-ups, we get stretches, we get individual drills, we get some group stuff. We haven't seen any 7-on-7. We haven't seen any what you would consider like action, So, I try to take away as much as I can, but there's only so much to take away from that. So we haven't gotten to see Apu like in the, fingers in the dirt, going up, against the O-line in reps. But, yeah, physically he looks the part for sure and seems to be fitting in well.
He obviously has – one of the things that we were told, remember when he committed to Baylor, we talked to his high school coach who just loves him. But there were maybe some whispers, and this happens when anyone transfers from a program, whether it's an attitude, I'm not saying that with him, or what it was, or it's kind of a fit, a 3-4, 4-3, whatever, especially on defense, but that maybe did his motor run consistently? And I asked when I sent a text back, and the coach said, oh, yeah. I said, has that been a problem? Not at all. He has been really good, and the guys love him. So that's on the big 340, 50-pound defensive tackle for Baylor.
And I would say that was the one thing about their defense that kind of concerned me is the defensive line, because over the last couple of years, they've lost some dudes off that defensive line, and that's maybe the most difficult thing quite often to replenish.
Yeah, it is. And, they had this class 2-3 years ago that they filled up under Matt Rule with defensive linemen, and they've kind of panned out a little bit. I mean, we've seen Gabe Hall injured more than we've seen him play.
Right.
And we've seen, guys like Harrison White who are being mentioned just kind of, fade. I don't know. I don't know the last time I've heard about him, or even if he's, still on the D-line. Like, that's kind of what I mean is there's been guys, and we've heard about Chidi Ogbonnaya and some others, but, as far as proof in the pudding, we've seen flashes of that. We need to see far more consistent play from Chidi, from Apu, when we finally do get to see him, and just across the board, because if they can do something up front, well enough, or if they can play well enough up front and just be pretty good, then with that back 7, back 8 that they have, they've got a chance to be a really special defense. So I'm not saying all-time great, but one of the best in the country, one of the best in the Big 12, I feel that way. I mean, why not? With the linebackers that they have, with the starting corners that they have, with the starting safeties that they have. I mean, the depth's not ideal, but a lot of the parts are there. So they seem to be happy with what they have on the D-line, but again, they got to go out and prove it.
The text line is already going, 254-339-1122. If you want to jump on, we would love to hear from you today. Baylor won a national championship, Paul. Did national championship on Monday night. And I can tell, I was at HEB earlier today, just went by there, and you can tell. There's a lot of people wearing it, and they should. They should be excited. They should be, if you're a Baylor fan, a lot of people in Waco, whether they went to Baylor, fans of Baylor, just because you could feel it. I mean, the people at the register that may know I do a talk show or whatever. Hey, how about, and it's been really, really neat. And obviously the site is just, there's so many people excited, and now they're putting together different things. The station, the website is going to do a documentary. And this is Brian, Ashley, and Colt all going head first into putting the time, effort, and money into a documentary. There's a thread on it in the premium section if you're interested in being a part of it and helping with the cause, because it's not free, but it might be something that's amazing. And so that's going to be cool. That's just something else that we're trying to provide for the Baylor fan base and those of you who listen to this show or are on the website as well. But they have won a national championship. 254-339-1122. Paul?
Steven from Virginia, you're on SicEm365 Radio.
Hey, guys. This is the first time I've called into the show since the year anniversary. I want to say how proud I am of everyone at SicEm365 and how special and how important you guys have been in all of our lives. We really appreciate having this show. Having a Baylor radio show is something that never thought was possible. Also, I still haven't come down from this national championship. And like Richard Nixon, I too have an enemies list of people who are receiving nothing but Baylor propaganda at this time, including my ex-wife. I definitely rubbed that one in a little bit. She was a South Carolina fan when South Carolina beat them in the Sweet 16. And, yeah, those gold sweatpants look real good right now, fellas. So we're some national champions, and I'm living it up. And, you know, it's opening day for the Cardinals, and they're already starting Matt Carpenter over Paul Goldschmidt. So we're just gonna live in this moment of the national championship for a few more months, okay?
For a few
Love
more
you
months.
guys.
Yeah.
Later.
Thank you, Steven. God.
I mean, maybe Goldschmidt's got the bug.
Steven's memory of the South Carolina game up at Madison Square Garden is right in the middle of it. Now you can drop that, whatever you said. Now move on.
Yeah.
And now go find somebody else. There's a thread. I always enjoy these threads. They're called SALT, opponent SALT threads. Like if you play TAC or you play Iowa State, and some of the fans that like those teams and some of the things they say, they get so mad. They get angry.
Steven, if it makes you feel better, there was not probably a media member more depressed that Baylor lost that game in New York than me. I had big plans for that weekend, and we could not convince the ownership to let me stay.
Where?
In New York.
Oh, yeah.
I had huge plans. I had all this stuff because we had essentially 2 full off days because they weren't playing again until Sunday night at like 9 o'clock Eastern.
Well,
so
they got drilled by South Carolina. Beat up Baylor. Remember that?
Yeah.
They beat them up, and so that's that. 254-339-1122 is the number. Again, we're here inside the great studio. Something that wasn't here a year ago. Wasn't even here until September. And we start, of course, this week that has been amazing with the national championship and also starting our second year on the air. Let me see. When we come back, the guest lineup today. Grayson, normally with us on Fridays, will join us today in the next segment. We also have Corey Jefferson. Craig, remember you were mentioning we had not really heard much from him. Corey Jefferson, former Baylor star, will join us at 3:30. Also today, Houston Texans defensive coordinator Lovie Smith. He did his first press conference today like at 1. Like at 1. John McClain got him. Then I get a call. I'd already told we were going to have him about 1:30. I taped that with Lovie Smith. He also brings up Baylor's basketball team and Dave. I brought up Dave Aranda because of the defense. And, of course, he went against him when he was the head coach at Illinois. I think Aranda was still at 1 year or 2 at Wisconsin. All of that. Plus today we'll hear from Mickey Spagnola, Art Strickland from Augusta National, and more. We'll have Craig's Off the Radar at 4:45 and Paul's 5 at 5:55, and this is SicEm365 Radio. Catskin leather. It's about as good as it gets when it comes to seat covers. It's about as good as it gets. Sorry, Paul. If you want to change whatever you have inside of your truck when it comes to your leather seats, you want to change them up. Catskin's the leader brand of leather replacement seats, and Pickup Outfitters of Waco is a Catskin authorized dealer and preferred installer. They remove the old cloth from your seats, replace it with luxurious custom-made leather, and the customization options are endless, including you can choose the colors you want, the type of stitching you want, and you could also go to createacommotion.com and look at, by the way, the video is a very cool video of the process itself. This can work for trucks and cars. They also have Catskin leather replacement kits for both cars and trucks, and factory matching leather kits, custom leather kits, leather seats for your SUV and truck at Pickup Outfitters, createacommotion.com.
How can we help you? That's a question we ask every day at American Bank. Hi, I'm President and CEO Dana Hassel. Our commitment to our customers is what drives us. It's why we've invested in new branch buildings and technology like ITMs that let you speak to a teller face-to-face from your car. It's why we work with local businesses, helping Waco grow and thrive. And it's why decisions about your accounts and loans are made here in Waco by people who know you. How can we help you? Find out at American Bank, member FDIC.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs. Even offering financing if that's needed, everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Texas Board Certified Personal Injury Trial Lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and two-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Ram Truck Month means special pricing on the new 2021 Ram trucks at Allen Samuels. The three-peak Motor Trend Truck of the Year, Ram 1500 Lone Star Crew Cab, has special values up to $5,500 or 0% for 84 months. Allen Samuels, located at 201 West Loop 340 in Waco, Central Texas' new Ram commercial truck headquarters with 3,500 and 5,500 chassis cabs and other great work trucks. Visit Allen Samuels today. It's Ram Truck Month.
Come by. Let's be friends.
See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with Grayson Grundhafer of SicEm365.com. Brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
Friend of the show, Mike George, down in Dayton, Texas. By the way, Mike's a Texans fan. Lovie Smith at 4. I believe that the way Baylor won, you're going to see more people wearing Baylor gear in the same way that, people bought A&M and Longhorn gear. In the past, they like being associated with a winner.
Well, I think that, and I know we got Grayson here, but I think that men's basketball team was the definition of cool. Mm-hmm. I think that they are a team, regardless of the colors they're wearing or the logo or the name of the school, that they were so impressive in the way that they did it and how they did it, that there's going to be a lot of people that, jump on that little Baylor bandwagon for, a little while just because they were, blown away by what they saw.
Yeah, you know what team I liked when I was a kid? I mean, and I was never a fan of the school. I never would be, but that 95 UCLA team or whatever that was with Tyus Edney and the O'Bannon brothers, I always thought they were kind of cool. They carried themselves well.
I mean, there could be guys who are 18 here in a few years that, talk about, we saw Baylor play in the tournament.
I agree. I agree. It's just like RG3, how long that carried over, and in fact, sometimes still does. Grayson Grundhafer joins us, normally Friday, but today. I put this up on the site earlier. I had a coach tell me Siaka Ika is an absolute freak show. And I asked about whether the motor runs every day, Grayson. No, that's not a problem at all. He's been really good. The guys love him. And obviously people chew this up and love it. And your thoughts, I know Craig said you guys can only see so much, but your thoughts about that particular quote.
Yeah, and I've heard similar things for a while, Smokey, and that was a big reason why he was brought in. Remember, Dave Aranda had been around him already before, so he already knew, a lot about Siaka Ika, and I think that was a big deal in his recruitment, and obviously, he shows up at Baylor. Craig and I have gotten to see him in person a few times, which is very different than just seeing him on film and things like that. So a very big human being who's going to plug up a lot of space on the defensive line, and that's exactly what they need. They really need a guy that kind of fits that similar mold of a Bravion Roy type, and I think that's exactly what he's going to be able to bring to the table. So, it's very encouraging to continue to hear really good things about him because, at the end of the day, that defensive line really needs those guys to step up. And it's not just Siaka Ika. It's guys like, Chidi and TJ Franklin and Gabe Hall. They need those guys to be running, their motors to be running every single day, and they need them to be huge factors next season.
Grayson, on the other line, is there anything that would shock you personnel-wise that would or wouldn't happen?
You mean just on the offensive line?
As far as like who the top five are when they finally get to that, which they didn't have last year?
Ever?
Yeah. I mean, I think we're all kind of playing a guessing game at this point. I would say that, I would be shocked if Connor Galvin and Grant Miller weren't pretty much locked in as starters. Other than that, I think all the other positions are pretty much going to be fair game. I really do. I think there's going to be a whole lot of competition. If you look at kind of the guard position, especially, I mean, you're looking at Khalil Keith, Moj Jeffrey, Xavier Newman, of course, Giancarlo Valentin. I even think that Casey Phillips might end up being a better guard than tackle at this point in his career. So, there's five guys I just named right there who could really plug into one of those guard positions. And there's some veterans in that group as well. So, very curious to see how that plays out. And then the other right tackle position, can a guy like Gavin Byers as a freshman take that role? Can a guy like Elijah Ellis, who came in very raw, excel and take that role over? I think it's going to be really fascinating to watch. And no, outside the two I mentioned, Grant Miller and Connor Galvin, nothing really would surprise me along the offensive front.
Grayson, I don't mean to interrupt football talk because I do have some football I want to talk about as well, but how was your experience? We talked about this a little bit in the podcast, but guys, Grayson was down at the championship game. Did you run into him?
In Indianapolis?
Yeah.
Grayson, I didn't know you were there.
Yeah, I was there. I was actually there. So I'm from Indiana. So I was born in Indianapolis.
Okay. Well,
so I have family there.
Okay, well, that's great. He was under the radar, incognito. Yeah. Didn't want to say hi to the rest of us who were there. That's good.
I just thought I'd mention that he was there, and we got to talk about a little of the podcast. But, Grayson, are you still glowing from Monday night as well?
Oh, guys. I mean, for Baylor, not only did Baylor win a national championship, Baylor won a national championship in my hometown. I mean, that is so cool and so unique and something I'll never forget. And, I mean, it really was cool when you're sitting in the stands and you're kind of looking around and, Baylor was up for a lot of that game, but I always felt like, and I think Baylor fans can appreciate this, when you're sitting there watching Baylor play so good, you're kind of waiting for something to go wrong. And I know that's a horrible thing to say, but it's happened so many times that you're just kind of on the edge of your seat, even though you see Baylor's playing so good and so dominant. But as the minutes progressed, you started to see fans just kind of go, wow, this is actually going to happen. And when they won the championship, I think the whole vibe around, the Baylor fans was kind of in shock and just surreal moment and something that, a lot of people maybe didn't see coming or didn't know was ever going to happen. And it was a really cool experience, like I said, and something I'll never forget. And just congratulations to those guys. They played so well. Scott Drew and his staff did an amazing job. And, ultimately they were the better team and they were the more well-coached team. I mean, it was just kind of a mixture of things, and that's what led to Baylor winning a national championship. Pretty cool.
You know how sometimes in football, the strength and conditioning coach gets a lot of attention when a team makes a move. Kaz Kazadi, of course, with Jeremy Scott and others, and now Vic Valoria. We'll see what Baylor does in football. But Charlie Melton, who the last thing he wants is for me to mention his name. I interviewed him 3 years ago, and it was like pulling teeth because he didn't want the attention. But Charlie Melton had a lot to do with it because you heard about the strength and how Baylor basketball players looked like they were probably in the weight room with the football team, and I just wanted to throw out Charlie Melton's name as well. Grayson, everyone obviously understands the quarterback room is pretty deep and young, but very, very deep with a lot of different talents and different skills. Other than, some of the obvious, what is there one particular either position or maybe a position group that catches your attention now, perhaps more than just the quarterbacks?
Yeah, so I'm going to go away from quarterback and I'm going to go away from offensive line because I think those are probably the two most obvious answers, and try to give you one that's kind of maybe hidden a little bit in the mix just because we obviously are going to talk about those two positions for a very long time through the fall, I believe. So the position that I really think is the most intriguing currently is actually the safety position. And I know JT Woods and Christian Morgan are, very good players. They had moments last year where they shined, but we're inconsistent at times. And I think that's very fair to say. But I do think they will be the starters ultimately going into the season, but I think it's really the depth behind them that is just extremely just filled with question marks, to be honest with you. Can a guy like Al Walcott, take over a backup role, or Devin Neal, or, Mike Harris? Can these guys really come in and make an impact early and be able to come in and take up some minutes from Morgan or Woods if, one of them gets injured, or, if one of them's just not playing up to the standard? They need to have guys that can come in and provide some depth for them. So I've been really focused on that position. Devin Lemire, an early enrollee, could be another one to watch. But yeah, I think that backup safety position and even just kind of starting safety position is really interesting. I know Ron Roberts mentioned that they might have to throw cornerbacks out there just to try to find guys that can provide depth. So yeah, safety is definitely one that I've had my eyes on throughout camp.
Would you be stressed if there's not a leader in the clubhouse in quarterback coming out of spring?
I would, and I don't believe that it will be the case. I think there will be a leader. I don't think one will be named. Guys, it's such a complicated position because you do have, older guys with Gary Bohannon and Jacob Zeno, Blake Shapen, who's been on campus for this is his second year now. I mean, you want to make sure that everyone is given a fair shot because the last thing you want to do is just name a quarterback early and then, now, guys like, I didn't get a fair shot. Now, maybe I'm going to leave. And Baylor at this point can't really afford that. They can't afford to lose any guys in this room. So I do think it's going to be very important that everyone gets a fair shot through the spring. I think there's a chance that it goes through the fall as well. But I do think, Paul, that you probably won't hear it, but I do think eventually in the spring, the coaching staff will have an idea of who their quarterback is, and hopefully they do, because if they don't, then that's a big problem because that means no one has separated themselves.
Grayson, the wide receivers and running backs, I think that's probably the least of people's concerns, talent-wise. But then again, there are questions there, but just not as many questions as maybe there are some other places. Has there been anything from perhaps new faces to just different bodies that you've taken away from either one of those groups? I know that they're hard to see from where we are typically, but you've got that long-distance camera. So I was just curious if the backs or receivers have stood out to you in any way at all.
Yeah, I think one guy really need to kind of emphasize as we're talking about this group is Drew Estrada, the Dartmouth transfer. I mentioned a little bit earlier this week that, he's one of those guys who I think everyone wants to compare him to a Wes Welker or a Danny Amendola without really looking at, like, his size. Wes Welker was like 5'8". Drew Estrada's 6 foot tall. Like, he's a guy who can play outside. He's a guy who can play inside, be a factor in the run game with sweeps and also in the return game as well. Just a very well-rounded player, and watching him run routes is so fascinating. He is so quick in and out of his cuts. And, you know, when you watch him do those type of things, that's where you go, man, he could end up being a 6 foot tall Wes Welker. So he's very, very impressive. He's been the guy that really, out of that group, has just kind of risen up my radar a little bit as a guy that I think everyone needs to pay attention to. Obviously, Josh Gleek playing a little bit of running back and wide receiver is very interesting. He's been kind of a staple at the wide receiver position for a while now. You know, I think if you look at the rest of that group, you know, R.J. Sneed, Tyquan Thornton are guys that need to step up and be alphas, and we kind of know what Baylor's going to get out of those guys. But it's the other guys, the Jackson Gleason, the Jalen Ellis. Those guys look healthy and look like they're going to be ready to go for the season, and they need that. They need that depth at the position. So that's kind of what I'm seeing at the wide receiver spot. I think at the running back position, a guy who I continue to say I think he's going to take over the John Lovett role. It's just kind of based on what I've seen, his size, his power. I know there's concerns about his running style, but I think Quaylon Jones is a guy that everyone really needs to pay attention to. You know, with Squirrel Williams out, at least for the time being, I think Quaylon could really take over that John Lovett role and provide some power and speed, because he does have high-end speed. His 4.49 in high school indicates that, but he's just a massive kind of freak of nature type running back. You mix him with Treston Ebner and also your depth guys with Jonah White and Tay McWilliams. I'm expecting this running back position to really take some strides this spring and be a lot better in the fall.
Thank you, Grayson. Enjoy your day off tomorrow. Grayson Grundhafer, a lot with recruiting, plus he was there in Indianapolis. Ashley was there, and Jason King was there. And Drake came in at the end to watch the championship game, and, of course, I was lucky enough to be there as well. When we come back, former Baylor star Corey Jefferson on the week, the national championship, and how proud he is. SicEm365 Radio.
Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. They've got their savings going on strong right now at Richard Carr, and that basically means that not much has changed, because they've always got great savings going on at Richard Carr. And right now they're celebrating 22 years with their anniversary event. Big anniversary savings on all new pre-owned or new or pre-owned cars and trucks on the lot. That includes 3 big rows of first-class seating, power, technology, safety, and superior ride with the Buick Enclave, second to none. And during the Richard Carr anniversary sales event, save $8,500 on a Buick Enclave. You've also got the power and luxury combined in the GMC Sierra truck, which is unique in its own right. And right now you can save $8,000 on a 2021 GMC Sierra, or save $7,000 off a 2021 GMC Acadia, or $6,750 off GMC Terrains. And Richard Carr Motors is, of course, your local family dealer and proud Baylor Bears who want to earn your business with great prices, free oil changes with a new purchase, and priority warranty service on all vehicles purchased. So come by their clean and disinfected showroom to take a test drive, or let them bring the test drive to you. And either way, save big on the line of GMCs or all the new or pre-owned cars on the lot during the big 22-year anniversary sales event going on now at Richard Carr.
1, 2.
I'm in love with a man named Rudy. I'm okay with that. He knows exactly what I want. He keeps me coming back. Cooks breakfast, lunch, and dinner for me. Does the dishes too. I'm in love with a man named Rudy. Last name Barbecue. It sure is easy to fall in love with Rudy's tasty oak smoked barbecue.
Next in line.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like our free First mobile app, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobbettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasonings, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Are you a SicEm365 super fan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at SicEm365.com.
All right, Lovie Smith at 4. We just got word that Dejanay Carrington will join us, the former Baylor guard. She'll join us at 5:20 today after our conversation with Art Strickland live from Augusta National. We're now joined by former Baylor star Corey Jefferson. Joins Paul Catalina, Craig, and David Smoak on SicEm365 Radio. So what did Monday night mean to you, Corey?
Monday meant a lot, and thanks for having me. But Monday definitely meant a lot, just over all the years, of course, that Coach Drew has been there and seeing all the great accomplishments and just building year by year and all the first team of Coach Drew to make it to a tournament and first team to get a win and just so on and so on, make it to Elite Eight and then finally the Final Four and then win a national title. That's huge. Just being a Baylor Bear, not even a player, but just being a part of Baylor as one is just big.
What was your first interaction with Scott Drew as a very, very skinny kid out of Killeen?
My first interaction, I believe I was in 10th grade, and he was at a tournament. It was actually out here in Dallas. I was playing at a tournament, and I saw him, and I believe I saw Coach Payne that weekend as well. And that was my first time really talking to them, and of course, just growing up in Killeen, like Baylor was basically right up the street from me, so that was like one of the big schools that I'll always hear about.
Corey, just when did you start to think that maybe this team had something special to them?
I knew it last year, like after the first couple of games, because last season is when I really got to see them together, because I know it was kind of a new team. For everybody that was on the team, kind of like new playing with each other. So I was Like, I'm not sure how this team is going to be, but let's find out. And a couple of games in, I was like, okay, this team really plays together. They were great on defense, one of the best defensive teams that have been at Baylor as a whole, just from the whole lineup. And I was like, this team is special. So from the season, the early last season games is when I realized.
Corey, the program when you were there, or Epe Udoh, or Quincy Acey, or a lot of the big names, bigger players, taller inside players, post players, and you were one of them, was about going inside. That was the focus. And, of course, things have changed when Tristan Clark went out. What does it say about this team and Coach Drew, Coach Tang, and all of them, that they were able to change their personality and actually get better?
It shows they're resilient, man. Just with everybody that they have, they know how to use what they have. And Coach Drew is great at putting people in a spot to be productive and be successful. So after the Bigs had went out, like losing Tristan, they were more of a guard dominant team, and they made it work. But the big part of it was defense. So defense really ran the team.
Were you surprised to see them switch to man-to-man after all the zone you played?
Yeah, we get that a lot, actually, all the old players. But it was nice to see, because everybody say, well, Baylor never plays man. But actually, like my last couple of years there, we did like 50-50 of man and 50-50 of zone. But this past 2 years, they've done pretty much more man-dominant, man-to-man. And it was good to see, just to show everybody that, yes, we can play man as well.
Corey, did you think that they were going to take Gonzaga to the woodshed the way that they did?
Not like that. Now, I did have them winning the whole thing, and I had them meeting up with Gonzaga for the final game, but I didn't expect it to be like that, and I'm definitely happy that it was.
Yeah, and I mentioned this in the last segment, Corey. Charlie Melton, who's the strength and conditioning coach, and you know him, and you came to Baylor, and you had to put on some meat, muscle, right? Gain some strength, and we saw what you did, among others, that were either tall inside players or guards. When you see that they were like men among boys and how physical they were, how much did Charlie Melton, or how much does he mean? Because you hear about the coaches and the players, but sometimes the guys behind the scenes don't get nearly enough credit.
Charlie means a lot. Like, you can credit a lot. You have from Coach Drew and all the coaches that are next to Coach Drew on the bench. They do the X's and O's, but Charlie means a lot. He was one of the big reasons that I came to Baylor, actually, among others. But the decision to come to Baylor was a lot to do with him as well, because he was one of the best strength and conditioning coaches in the Big 12. And I came into Baylor, I think I was about 170, honestly. And Charlie changed that real quick.
What was the hardest part? Was it the weightlifting that you had to do, or the diet you had to be on?
Actually, the weightlifting was probably the hardest, just because when I was in high school, I didn't really lift weights at all. But it wasn't even hard, but just, I'll say more of an adjustment, because the diet was easy. They just gave me extra plates every time we went to go anywhere. they said, eat as much as you can. They try to put as much weight on me. But yeah, I'll say not really the hardest, but the thing that changed the most was just lifting weights. And Charlie makes everybody believes in lifting. Like, they want to lift. They want to get better. They want to get stronger. So he just brings the team together, and the finished product is what was on the court for that championship game. Just like you said, men against boys, out rebounding, and just pretty much doing whatever they wanted to inside.
Corey, how well, if at all, did you get to know any of the guys on the current team? And if so, was there anybody or any ones in particular that you were kind of drawn to, or that you really enjoyed watching play?
I didn't really know too many of the guys on this team personally, other than Mark Vital. Mm-hmm. And he was one of the guys that I just talked to just randomly, not even about basketball things, but just randomly throughout the season. So a lot of it would be off the court stuff. But I feel that even if you don't know Mark Vital personally, you were drawn to him if you were watching any games from Baylor basketball.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Fran Fraschilla, every once in a while during the season, and you know Fran, he covers the Big 12 in college basketball, and also a talent guy for the NBA draft. He kept saying this. Mark Vidal, committed to Baylor. What was it?
I would have never guessed that he would be like potentially the best defender in the country.
But he kind of personifies what Coach Drew kind of gets out of everybody, right? Where they find a job that's perfect for them and they embrace it, right?
Oh, for sure. For sure. Like I said, Coach Drew puts you in the position to excel and be successful. And I feel that each and every player on the roster found that spot, found their role, and they excelled in it and accomplished it all together. And when you put it all together, that's what you get, a national championship team.
How proud of you? How proud were you of the bigs on Monday night, given that was kind of the matchup or the weakness, so to speak, that people pointed to with this Baylor team, and yet, I mean, they helped set the tone as much as anybody, bullying Gonzaga's bigs, and once that was out of the equation, Corey, I mean, there wasn't really anything that wasn't in Baylor's favor on Monday night.
Right, I was very proud because, of course, leading up to it, well, even before the championship game, you would hear how Baylor's going to be in trouble. Yeah, we have good guards, but the bigs are going to get beat up or beat off the dribble or can't defend, and they definitely held their own all tournament, and especially against Gonzaga during the championship game.
You have been around, you have played, you've had your opportunities with the NBA, you've played a lot of different places. What is your future? What's going on with you right now?
Right now, I'm currently working to get back to playing. I had a minor surgery about 2 years ago, and I've just been rehabbing from that. But I'm still looking to play.
What's it like been going around the world and doing that?
Oh, it's good. It's great. Just like people say it all the time, like you get paid to literally just live around the world, go around the world, have different experiences, see different cultures, hear the different languages, and just, of course, seeing the different sites and everything. It's something to take in and just sit back. Although you are over there for business and playing basketball, you get to really just sometimes sit back and realize that you're blessed to be able to move around the world like you are and see all the different sites. And like I said, just everything that's different that you wouldn't be able to get at home, the foods and everything.
There are a lot of former players in the NBA, and Corey, you've had your opportunity there as well. But China, Spain, and I believe Puerto Rico, right?
Italy, right? We're in Italy?
Italy, yeah. I mean, you've experienced the world.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been around quite. Those are all some of my favorite places to be, especially Italy. I was in Milan. I've been to the Philippines, been to Greece. So it's great just to be able to travel. Like, these are the places that people will just say, hey, I want to go here for a vacation, and I'm blessed to be able to actually like get paid to go there and play and have all those experiences.
Yeah, that's not a bad gig to get to live in Milan for a couple of years. I wouldn't.
Exactly.
From Killeen, Texas, and then, of course, with Baylor, and now trying to work his way back to playing professionally. One of the great guys at Baylor, and a lot of them have played at Baylor, a lot of the former players. We've had a ton of you on, Corey. It was great to have you on. Thanks for reaching back out to me when I asked. It's great to hear your voice, and a lot of people are glad to hear from you and what you're doing and how excited and proud you are.
Thank you. That means a lot. I appreciate it, and thanks for having me on.
Corey Jefferson, former Baylor power forward. Here's another one of those that came on campus, and you wondered if he would get physically to a point where, and he turned out to be so fantastic.
I was worried. So I saw him in his senior year, and they were playing the high school playoffs are in Killeen, and they called me to do PA at the Farrell Center, and they were playing in the Farrell Center. And when I walked in, I saw Matt Driscoll, and he said, "Hey, one of our guys." He said, "Hey, the deed already signed."
Oh, okay.
He already signed. Okay. And he said, "Hey, he said, hey, that's our guy." I mean, he'd already signed. Yeah. It was already done. So he said, "Hey, one of our guys is here. The Corey is there." And he goes, "Watch him. He's really good." And I said, "Which one is he?" And he's like, "That one right there." I said, "Don't turn the air conditioning up. You're going to blow him away."
Yeah, I know.
And he said, "Yeah." So
I know.
But yeah, I mean, he'd already signed. And yeah, he was. But yeah, it was. It was so crazy that and he got there. I remember seeing Charlie Melton and said, "So what's the mission with him?" And he's like, He's like weights and protein
peanut butter and
shakes
jelly sandwiches.
Extra plate. He said, extra plate. There you go.
Coming up at 4, Lovie Smith. We got a couple of other things to get to as well. The Masters, I need Armstrong. This is full attention. Jordan Spieth on number 9. Was it 9? He hit a driveway left, tried to punch it out, hit a tree, stayed left, and he punched it up front left of the green. What did he end up with, Armstrong? Did he par the hole? Well, he couldn't have parred it.
We're about to see if he can bogey right here.
Oh, okay. This is about I'll tell you what I've noticed. Oh, he missed him.
Oh,
My gosh.
That sucks.
Oh, and I'm telling you, look how far by it went.
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
Justin Rose has just nuked himself into 4 under.
Yeah. By the way, Smokey, do you have our teams so we can?
Yeah, I'll do that. I got them right here on this.
Yeah, we got some time right now before the top of the hour.
Well, there's 70.
You and Craig each have a bit of a problem right now. You have the biggest problem.
All right, so let's go
Craig
over
has
them.
Rory's a
Paul,
problem.
you have Rahm. He's okay. Webb Simpson's okay. Finau's okay. Berger.
I got to check Berger.
Craig and I are in trouble. Craig has Dustin Johnson. He's fine. McIlroy, he's okay. DeChambeau was 3 or 4 over, and he was still in the front 9. And then Jason Day, I have not seen Jason Day. Have you, Armstrong? I have not seen what.
Jason Day is 4 over.
I'm telling you, 4
Berger's
over
a problem
today.
for me. 3 over. Yeah, Berger's 3.
4 over and done is okay based on how the course played today. Justin Thomas,
5 over.
Schauffele, Westwood's what, Paul? What did he end up with? 7,
Westwood is 6 over.
I'm okay. What about him?
Sanjay.
Like your response is supposed to be, who's him? Yeah.
No, I don't know who he is.
He's even.
Okay. Armstrong. Spieth is what? Even now after today?
No, he is now 1 over.
Hovland started with a triple.
Hovland is 1 over.
And that's okay.
Scheffler.
Morikawa's 1 over. Scheffler
is 1 over.
Oh, you're good.
So I'm good.
Rob has Cantley. Reed was okay. Cameron Smith's okay. I don't know where Fitzpatrick is. I think we're okay.
Yeah.
Boy, Rory McIlroy hit his father on number 9 on an approach shot on number 9. His dad, like right in the shin. Cameron Smith just bogeyed. He's at 3 over. There's nobody running away with this but Justin Rose with his temperament, his real calm demeanor. Woo! He's out there at 4 under.
Larry Mize and Sandy Lyle are plus 12 and plus 9. So
wow.
But they're doing their thing. They go and get to play the Masters every year.
12, jeez.
I mean, how Larry Mize has got to be 70 years old.
Yeah, those guys. Some of those guys
yeah.
eventually give up playing. But Sandy Lyle was 9 over, I think. Justin Rose was 2 over. He eagled 8, birdied 9, birdied 10, and birdied 12, and he's now at 4 under par. And have it himself. Brian Harmon, Hideki Matsuyama, they're at 3 under par.
What am I looking at? I'm looking at McIlroy as a problem. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, it's not a problem. I mean, he just has to go out and play well tomorrow. He's just not playing that great. Like Justin Thomas is on a great run. He's 3 over through 9.
I'm not really worried about how guys are playing. I'm just, based on my history, hoping they all make the cut. I mean, that's basically it. Because I've had lots of good teams that a couple occasions where Rob's like, gosh, your team's so good. And then a guy misses the cut like on the first day. So
McIlroy's 4 over, which right now a lot of people will go back to that. They'll don't you think, Armstrong? There's a lot of them that will kind of come back. Although the course, you got guys 4 under, you got guys at 4 over. All right, then Craig has McIlroy. DJ is 2 over. He double bogeyed 18. DeChambeau's 3 over on the course. Now 4 over on the course. He's one of those that can get like 2 under in the back nine.
But Rob kind of called it about him in that these greens are playing fast, and that's kind of where he's going to fall.
He's a good putter.
They're not kind of playing fast. They're playing super fast.
And Jason Day's 5 over. He's done for the day. I'm telling you, before it's all said and done, and they don't really there's not like a cut. There's not a cut at the Masters, is there? Is there a cut? I don't know if there is or not. Yeah, there is. Is there?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. How many things I've lost because we've had a cut at the Masters?
I was going to say, I think so.
How about the one, Armstrong?
If you're within 10 strokes of the lead, though, you're not going to get
Let me ask you your opinion on this. So when Dustin Johnson fell down the stairs and hurt himself, it was literally 5 minutes after we'd done our draft. I mean, as I was saying Dustin Johnson, he was tumbling down the stairs.
What's her name pushed him?
So what happened was I said, that's not, can I go back and draft somebody else? Because obviously that was happening and it was a weird situation. Butch, Smokey, and Jordan, our producer, all voted me down, meaning that I was not going to win in spite of my other golfers that I drafted.
Doesn't matter. You know what? Hey, it's like if you draft somebody like you draft Patrick Mahomes. in the fantasy draft and he gets injured in week 2,
I think just extenuating circumstances of the fact that
maybe
he was the favorite going in.
Made him fall down the stairs.
Well, I'm sure he was. I don't know, but.
And first of all, golfers don't need to rent 2-story houses anyway. That's just.
I bet you he hasn't since then.
I don't know. I bet he lives in a mansion that's got more.
No, but I bet you he hasn't in Augusta rented a 2-story house since
He surely
then.
didn't go back to the same place.
Well, the current projected cut line is +3, but with only 52 players at +2, we could see the line move to +4. That's per a certain website.
So you're good, except Jason Day needs to play better tomorrow.
Yeah, it says the odds makers had said it previously. The current projected cut line is +3. The cut rule for the Masters in 2021 is the top 50 golfers plus ties, is what this says. So that's the cut line. Top 50 golfers plus ties. And I think they cut after round 2.
Where's Phil doing, Paul? Where's
He's actually not doing too bad. Much to my
I'll tell you what's
dismay.
interesting though is that there's a couple of guys that I thought, like Matt Kuchar, 6 over. Westwood was playing great, 6 over. Billy Horschel was playing great. He's 5 over through 11.
Phil is +3 through 12.
Okay, that's fine.
Who's leading the tournament? I don't think you mentioned that.
Well, no, Justin Rose is now leading. He's at 4 under par. Brian Harmon, isn't he a lefty? Yep. He and Hideki Matsuyama are 3 under par. And then there's a couple of guys, Will Zalatoris and Christian Buzenhen.
I don't know that one.
Are 2 under par, and there's a couple of surprises.
I would say
hey, this is something
Basenhout.
to think about here. Okay, him too. Webb Simpson and Patrick Reed, both of them, they're 2 under and in. So that's pretty good. I mentioned Fitzpatrick a minute ago. He's 1 under, making the turn to the back nine.
Zalatoris is a first-timer, so that's impressive.
Wow, that's very good. Is he an amateur?
No, but he just turned pro.
He looks 12. You see a picture of him? He looks like he's 12.
Armstrong can pronounce foreign golfers' names like I can pronounce New Japan Pro wrestlers.
You're right.
It's one little thing I can do. I can just somehow pronounce Japanese names, and Armstrong's over here just rolling off various names. I'm impressed.
Rahm and Schauffele are even through the day. I mean, I think if you're 2-3 over or better, and that Craig was mentioning that's kind of where the cut is. There'll be a couple of people tomorrow. They'll probably soften them up slightly, but you got to be careful because then the afternoon round plays tomorrow morning and vice versa. We'll see how the wind blows.
One little history, making changes to the cut line has been part of the history of the Masters. The cut was first instituted in 1957. It was the top 40 and ties until 61. And then from 62 to 2012, expanded to the top 44 and those within 10 strokes of the leader. And in 2013, expanded to top 44 and those within 10 shots. So now this year, top 50 and those within 10. So to give you an idea of sort of where everybody is.
They are not afraid to make changes, and they're not afraid to not trick up the course, but change up the course. They're not afraid to. But you can see the green. I'll tell you what the biggest stunning thing is for me. Is the greens are spotty. The greens you could see the brown spots. And I'm telling you right now, somebody probably going to get fired.
Was it the ice storm that we had, or what do you think that's attributed to?
Because they got it too.
Yeah.
So
there's a possibility, but they have control. They can control the conditions everywhere. It used to be just around the flowers, the landscaping and all that.
Ain't a tarp big enough for the entire golf course, though.
No. I have... if you have plants and you didn't even think about it because you're trying to just stay warm at that time, the last thing you thought about probably was sometimes the things outside because you're worried about you inside and it was cold.
I have a ton of dead plants and things that are gone now. That's it.
That's why you have a shovel.
Yeah,
that's why you have a shovel. So, all right, when we come back, earlier today had the opportunity to speak with Texans assistant head coach and defensive coordinator, and as proud a Texan as you have in the world, perhaps, Lovie Smith, next on SicEm365 Radio. Don Humidor in the Townwood Shopping Center. Speaking of which, I bet there's a lot of people who are not a lot of fans out there. There's some patrons, as they call them, but maybe some of them have got themselves a cigar going, or someone who's out playing around a golf right now that has taped the Masters, and they'll probably have a cigar while you're playing a round of golf. Or on the back grill, you're grilling a steak, having a drink, and you want a cigar, and you need to know where to go to get them. Inside Don Humidor, 48-foot walk-in humidor. Carol and Ashley can help you out. They have CBD products as well if you're interested, like Vita Dreams, to help you perhaps not toss and turn before you fall asleep. And they have fresh coffee beans with the aroma, flavors, and taste. But the cigars. John Maddox, Edward Jones is a sponsor. John's not one of the agents, but I'll give him a little plug. He texted me with a few minutes left in the game against Gonzaga, and he said, it is your job to bring them home to a championship. And I was like, John, I don't shoot. I can't play defense, but I'll try. And then the game ended. He goes, I owe you the finest box of cigars that I can buy. And so I told him, I said, well, just go ask Carol and ask me. They know what cigars I like from Don's Humidor. 48-foot walk-in humidor loaded with the best brands of cigars in the Town West Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one, commercial, farm and ranch, or residential. Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
It was broad daylight. I stepped into a gas station for 5 minutes to grab a snack, and just like that, my car was broken into. They made out like a bandit. My laptop, my phone, everything. I called my agent to see what could be done, and he restored my faith in humanity. My claim was processed so quickly, and I was able to recover my losses.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Listen, in the past couple of years, we've had a lot of people moving in from out of state to Waco thanks to Chipper and JoJo. And while we welcome these new citizens, they unfortunately brought some of their bad habits with them. Hi, Jay here from Pickup Outfitters, and you know what I'm talking about. Naked trucks. You'd think everyone moved here from McNewtville. But we shouldn't judge them, we should help them. For example, when you see a recent transplant truck from a less civilized state like California, instead of saying, your truck is disgusting, your bed is exposed, get a bed cover on that truck, buddy, that's a bit harder. Instead, try something like, in Texas, it's not polite to drive around with your bed exposed. Maybe you should check out the excellent selection of bed covers at Pickup Outfitters. And then if they refuse, you can say, well, I hear New Mexico's a nice state. Let's help our new neighbors and let them know that truck nudity is not okay. Let them know about Pickup Outfitters of Waco and send them to our website, createacommotion.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
2nd and 10. Somebody's woke up this defense for the Houston Texans.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Smith, assistant head coach, defensive coordinator with the Houston Texans, and back in coaching yet again. It wasn't going to take long. Lovey, great to hear your voice. Great to hear from you. What's it like just to know you'll be coaching again during football season and back in the game again?
Well, it's all I know, really, David. I mean, it seems like I've been coaching forever, and really we almost have. And it's just what a blessing. Football has given me so much. I've learned so much, met so many great people, and a new adventure, a new journey to be on the staff with a good man in David Culley, who's getting his first opportunity to be a head football coach, and for us to bring our Texans back is pretty special.
Yeah, and obviously David Culley with this opportunity, and it's been a tough stretch for the Texans organization with a lot of things that are coming and going or whatever. What did he tell you? You've known him. What did David Culley tell you when he contacted you to become his defensive coordinator?
Well, there was a lot of excitement, as you can imagine, and I was just as excited for him. And the next deal was that this is a great situation for us. We can do some great things here. Understand where we are. We're gonna get the roster right, and that's what we've done. Nick Casario. Nick's been great. David has been that, and we just went to work as much as anything. Say, hey, we can get this done. We like the division we're in, and as much as anything, just back to the grind.
So you're a 4-3 guy, Tampa 2 guy. Is that going to make it comfortable? Because haven't they been running the 3-4?
Yes, but there is as you kind of talk schematics a little bit. There is a difference, but you're dealing with 4 guys primarily that are up front, and as far as personnel, it's not that big of an adjustment, really. Because, in a 3-4, you're outside linebackers. They're called outside linebackers. Well, they're defensive ends in a 4-3 front. Now, there's a little bit different athlete that we play with linebacker-wise, but, Zach Cunningham, our best linebacker, will play the wheel, our marquee linebacker position in our 4-3 defense. So, personnel-wise, it hadn't been that much of adjustment. We feel really good about that. And it's going to eventually get down to same football. Tackling, taking the ball away, playing hard. Those are the reasons why you're going to win football more so than whether it's a 3-4 or a 4-3.
You have a lot of new faces, and obviously that comes with change as well. The draft is coming up, and I know that maybe in the back part of your secondary is pretty good with the safety position. Is it good to have a lot of new faces with change, or would you obviously you'd love to have J.J. Watt, but he's not there. Is it good to kind of have a bunch of fresh across the board just so as you do this transition?
Yes, I really believe that. I always have believed that. It's something happens where there's change in certain spots, the more change. If there's something that wasn't quite right, there's a lot of reasons for that. And the more things you can change, probably the better off you'll be. And I know for us, we have gone through a transition. Our roster has changed quite a bit right now. Some guys have chosen to go elsewhere. We've chosen to move on from others. And that's from top to the bottom. And I just know there's a lot of new excitement in the building. And when you bring in so many new guys too, the competition should be at an all-time high. And that's what you want. You want guys to be competitive and feel like they're fighting for their job each day, all of us, coaches and players, and that'll bring out the best in us.
Lovey, you were in the college game with Illinois. You have been in the NFL. You've been in the college game, Tulsa, Arizona State, Ohio State, elsewhere. But is it kind of unique and ironic that you were in the college game where the game has changed so dramatically, and we're seeing some of the college game now infiltrate the NFL, so that kind of gives you some perspective there?
Yeah, I think that's how the cycle kind of happens in general, and that's why there's a lot of excitement too. It has changed, and even though we're seeing a lot of the college game come to the NFL, I think you'll only see so much, though. In college football, a lot of programs are dominated with the quarterback being a big part of the offense, more running than just passing. I don't think we'll ever get too far away from that in the NFL. Quarterbacks make too much money to be put at risk as much as maybe some of them are in college. But a lot of the same schemes are coming to the NFL, and we've had our share of those in college, and looking forward to adjusting our stuff towards that.
I know you'd love coaching no matter where it was, whether it's Big Sandy or whether it's in college
Absolutely.
or the NFL. You ooze, you're soaked in it, like you said at the beginning. Does it matter what level you're in? Is there a difference in coaching college players compared to NFL players?
David, when I was in college, before I went to the NFL, I thought there was a big difference. And when I went to the NFL, I saw that there really wasn't that big of a difference. And I think nowadays they're pretty close. And you really do, as a coach, you get the same feeling, no matter where you're coaching. I love my time when I coached at Big Sandy High School. If you're a coach, you love to coach the athletes that are presented to you. And that's where I've been. And coming from college to the NFL, what I found is that, we're going through draft preparation and stuff right now. My time in college has really helped me an awful lot. I know a lot of the college guys that NFL teams are looking at right now personally based on coaching them, playing against them, a lot of different perspectives that I have right now coming back to the NFL.
Your first job was at Big Sandy. That was 41 years ago. I got to know you probably within a year or two after that when you were at Tulsa. Isn't it strange that this is really the first time, other than that you've coached in the state of Texas that you love so much?
That's why when I came back, when I got playing for the first time, there's so many memories that came back. I played in back when they had a Texas high school all-star game in the Astrodome way back in the day. So there's so many memories when you're part of Texas high school football that come back to mind. And for me to spend some of my the full quarter of my career, coaching in our home state, it's pretty neat. The football down here seem like it's gotten better and better each year. It's just so many things that make you want to be down in Texas. I'm looking forward to going to the Texas high school track meet this year. But the football part, I can't wait for.
All right. Romeo Cornell's an advisor. You've known him forever. Obviously, you've known David. How much does it help to have that kind of experience where people can rely on what you guys have basically seen almost everything?
Yeah, and I think it's just that. You mentioned Romeo. What hasn't he seen? Between David, of course, we all have been in the game for quite a bit, and that should help because situations come up. And as a young coach, you think you're ready for it and you think you know everything that will come up, but there are some other things. But us together, we feel like we're kind of prepared for what the challenges that do meet us. And there's a different challenge, seems like, daily. But you're ready for it, and we are.
Lovie Smith, defensive coordinator, assistant head coach with the Texans on SicEm365 Radio. You've always loved the state of Texas from the days you played at Big Sandy, and they had the UIL 100 come out, naming the greatest teams of all time, and I was a part of that. And Big Sandy in the mid-'70s, of course, is right in the middle of all of that. You mentioned to me earlier, Dangerfield at 83 and all the teams that have been. What is it like now, even almost 50 years later, that you played on perhaps the most dominating one or two teams in the history of this great state?
Well, you just seem like every year, David, you just realize how much of a blessing it was, and it's just hard to appreciate it when it's happening. I was talking to someone earlier today. It's hard for people to believe, that you can score 820 points in one season. About 24 points, I should say. It's hard to believe that, being a defensive coach, you play 14 games and you give up 15 points the entire season. So that just didn't happen very often. And if you're a part of it, what happens is you talk about it the rest of your life. And And now I can talk about a lot of those things with not just on the telephone. I can see some of the guys a little bit more, so that'll be exciting too.
Lovie Smith with us. A couple more questions, Coach, and thanks for your time today. You have been in a Super Bowl against Tony Dungy, and obviously it didn't end the way you wanted, but you took the Bears right on the cusp of a championship. Do you feel like you have one more run left in you to take a team or help a team to guide them to that level again?
Oh, absolutely. You just get this feeling, and it's just it's not complete until you achieve all the things you kind of set out. Most of the time in my career, I've been blessed enough to have taken care of most of the things that I wanted to in sports, but not being a Super Bowl champion is something that's still at the forefront. And there's another opportunity that we have right now, and we're looking forward to it. I think Coach Cully would say the exact same thing. And the thing, as you can see, look at our Baylor Bears and there's a time when our program was really down, and you could come back quickly. You can, I know. And you get the right people together, all trying to achieve the same goals, working hard every day, you can accomplish a lot. And so that's still a goal, absolutely.
You have been at the forefront, you, Tony Dungy, and others. I mentioned Romeo and David Cully. As far as black head coaches, assistant coaches, people who have had a chance, and at times there's always the wonder if they have had enough. Have there been enough opportunities? And we've discussed this before, and I've heard you discuss it before. Is it going to get better? Do you feel like it's getting better or any closer in the NFL or in college as well?
Well, there was a time, David, when there were 8, black head coaches in the NFL. We don't have that many right now. It being better or wanting it to be better, absolutely. And I think most people have to say, well, what can I do to help the situation? Well, I think one thing that'll help is that I think people want a winner, and that'll help us advance a lot more.
Right.
And the opportunity to be on Coach Cully. Coach Cully was the only, black head football coach that was hired this cycle. And so I have a chance to be on his staff. If we have success, that'll open up more doors. That's how society has been most of the time. So that's what we're going to concentrate on is we have more success, that'll open up more opportunities. We had 2 female assistant coaches for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Super Bowl champion this year. That's going to open up more doors for women in our profession. So hopefully that'll be the case with us too.
My last question, Dave Aranda at Baylor, once at Wisconsin, you were there. It's been a long time since you were there, but he had a tough first year. He's trying to turn things around. Matt Rule did a great job at Baylor. Your thoughts about him? He's a defensive guy. Have you met him before?
I think, matter of fact, he probably was at Wisconsin one of my years I was at Illinois. But I know, David, what he's done. He's an excellent football coach. And I don't know him that well personally. But I know people that know him and all say the same thing about him. Good man, good defensive mind. Is going to be a good head football coach. He's leading, of course, a good program at Baylor. And it takes time when you come in when you're new. It takes a few years, but he'll have the guys back in the mix before long.
Welcome back to Texas, Coach. Welcome back to Texas, Lovie Smith.
That's a good sound. Appreciate it. Excited about being back home.
Thank you, Coach. Lovie Smith, Texas assistant head coach and defensive coordinator on SicEm365 Radio.
Pioneer Steel and Pipe. 1943, they opened their doors, and here we are 78 years later, and they are going strong. Metal buildings, metal roofing, pipe and steel, structural pipe and structural steel, purlin, tubing, beams and weld plates, H-braces, fence posts, culverts and gates, sheet and expanded metal. They have been around since 1943. Their customer service is unmatched. What they have with their product is unbelievable. And you hear about the Pioneer Way. Well, they're open in both Waco and Bryan. The Building Wizard is who sometimes people refer Pioneer Steel and Pipe. They're open on Saturdays, 8 until noon. If you can't quite get to where you need or what you need during the week, of course, they're there for you as well. Pioneer Steel and Pipe is also expanding. They're about to move into it's going to take a long time to build their brand new structure and facility. No matter what you call and need from them, they stake their business on how you are treated. Firm handshake, a cup of coffee like the good old days, the traditional way, some popcorn, respect, needs of you, the customer, enjoy the relationships, and that's how you survive since 1943, plus the great product. What project are you working on? How can we help? That's what they ask. That's what they want to know, and they want to make sure when you walk out of their door that you are satisfied and you come back again and again and again. PioneerBoys.com.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
It's a name and a memory that called us back. It's a belief and a labor that will carry us forward. It's a time and experience that will make you return. The new Bear Ridge Golf Club, a space revitalized, a course restored, a new experience. For a tee time today, call the Pro Shop at 254-848-7800. Go to BearRidgeWaco.com, just south of Waco on Highway 84. Come join us at Bear Ridge Golf Club.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Prescott going end zone. It's caught for the touchdown. Dalton Schultz.
It's time for our weekly segment with Mickey Spagnola of DallasCowboys.com. Brought to you by the First National Bank of Central Texas, with 5 locations to serve you.
All right, Mickey Spagnola will join us momentarily, about 4:30, SicEm365 Radio. We'll have Dejanay Carrington at 5:20. She just checked in and said she'll be available. Of course, tomorrow there's some sort of I think from some of the analysts that cover the WNBA, there's a draft type presser. We had Dee Richards on Monday, and Dejanay Carrington will be on today. Craig will be going. What time, Craig?
I probably won't stick around for Dejanay just in case that goes a little long. I don't know what, with the traffic around here, it's not far, but sometimes it takes 5 minutes, sometimes it takes 15.
Yeah.
So
Armstrong, how was that leaving the stadium and coming here on Monday night?
Oh, yeah, I can't imagine.
Oh, that was bad. That was really bad. It wasn't even, it was just getting out of the parking lot.
You sure you just weren't in the middle of that pile on?
Oh, I was, and then I got in my car and tried to get over here. I did make some maneuvers, got some honks and some middle fingers because I was slicing and dicing through the parking lot.
How can people honk and give you the middle finger after watching the national championship?
Well, I will say, all this.
They want to go celebrate. I don't know.
Yeah, all this construction on 35. They're doing a good job with doing it quick, but you're driving down 35 and all of a sudden just a lane's closed, and then it just creates this bottleneck that. I feel like there should be more signage to kind of let people know what's going on because people are like stopping for no reason in the middle of the highway. And it's just
TxDOT, I think, is playing a game. It's just fun for them to be like, listen, we're gonna close. It was the left lane for a month.
Yeah.
But then for the next 2 months, it's gonna be the right lane. But we're gonna tell no one.
Yep.
Yeah, but what they do is like when that left lane was closed, is they put like one sign that said, hey, in like 2 miles, this lane's closed. But what happens is everybody just ignores that, and then they go all the way until when it finally merges, and then it just creates this huge jam. And it's been like that for like 2 months, and now it's just flipped. And so, anyways, I'll probably leave a little bit earlier just to make sure I'm there, and maybe they'll start on time. I don't know.
Armstrong honestly could have gotten here quicker on foot the other night.
Oh, yeah, for
probably,
sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Probably.
From where I was. But also these underpasses, like, one day it's completely blocked. One day it's normal. One day it's flashing red lights. It's like
one day you can't do the complete U-turn coming off the highway. Yeah. It is.
And if you're going north on 35 and you don't take that final exit towards Baylor, then you're going to be driving about 10 more miles before you finally get a chance to turn around again.
If north and you're trying to take the exit, you might as well get off on that Golson Road or whatever it is, Elmont, whatever. I don't know, but
part of the deal, but it'll be nice when it's all over with here in a year or two.
A year. I hope that's.
Well, they're halfway through.
God, I hope.
Yeah,
are they really?
Yeah, they're halfway through. Probably a little over halfway now because they were halfway through like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
so.
I'll say this: Temple turned out nice. It took forever, and we know it destroyed some businesses like the car dealership that was Auto Max. It was right there on the right side. A couple other. But what they did to the north of Waco many years ago, remember how that used to be a cluster?
Yeah.
And now that's well done. It really, really is.
I just think about there's places in Dallas. Of course, that 35 and 30, junction there used to be really a disaster, and now it's gotten a little bit easier. The only thing is if you're on the left side and need to go to the right and don't realize it,
you're talking about South Dallas, right next to downtown.
The Fort Worth Dallas split.
Oh yeah.
It's not bad anymore. But the side roads they've actually completed the side roads. Now it's just all main work on 35 itself, from what I understand. So if you'll notice, like there's fresh pavement, and they just got to clean it up a little bit. Is what they need to do.
In the middle of our conversation, Cole's sitting there paying attention, doing what he's here to do. Looks like he's bored out of his mind. Armstrong, what was the standing up in the middle of us discussing I-35?
I was watching Jordan's birdie putt. It looked like it might go in.
Stood up like you're a fan on the rope.
I watched it with the same intensity as a Baylor basketball game,
So Armstrong, is this a number one destination thing for you?
The Masters?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
So if I gave you a ticket,
oh my gosh,
would you pee in your pants?
Yeah, if you gave me a ticket to the practice round, I would.
No. If I just gave you an opportunity to walk inside the ropes, like go to Augusta, any practice round or regular, you would just.
Oh yeah.
Would you go there just to watch them mow the grass?
I was doing.
Oh, that is such a sight when you see them, especially coming down
I would
like
go
number
to do
10.
Anything.
And there's like 6 of them. They're all perfectly aligned.
We drove through Augusta one time and just stopped and tried to get a peek in through the gates.
No.
Saw something, and that was amazing.
What did you see? Like what?
Just like grass. Like there's grass.
Did you have a moment?
I did. Look at the grass.
Oh my God! It's beyond anything you can compare it to, even with the greatness of whatever you can see now on television. That makes you at least see some of the undulations. It's not even close to how beautiful it really is. Mickey Spagnola, DallasCowboys.com, with us on SicEm365 Radio. So Mickey, at number 10, this Kyle Pitts is getting a lot of attention. He's a dynamic player. Dallas has needs on defense as well. Do you think he'll be available at 10?
I don't think so. I think somebody's going to grab him before that. But if he is, then I would think the number 10 pick would bring some pretty expensive real estate if somebody wants to trade up. Because I just can't imagine the Cowboys, with all their other needs, would say, okay, we got to have this tight end. This is the greatest tight end ever, right? It seems like every other year we get the greatest tight end to show up in the draft. So unless this guy's the last picture show of tight ends, I think if you get to that point and you still got three guys that you wouldn't mind having, if you trade down to 12, 13, and you get one of them and you pick up a second-round pick, I think they couldn't resist that.
But, Jerry, when it comes to offensive toys, right, isn't that sometimes, and this is not to take a cheap shot at him, but that's kind of hard for him to pass up offensive toys.
Well, yeah, and I understand that, and I understand that, it got reported that he said it's intriguing. Well, hell yes, it's intriguing. There's 32 teams that probably think this guy's intriguing. But again, when it comes down to it, is that exactly what you need? It's sort of 2015, 2014, the Zach Martin or Johnny Manziel, right? And you did what you needed, not what was a splash, and it turned out to be one hell of a pick. Look, I know Jerry's got the last word, but there's other big voices in that room that I would think say, we can get the best defensive player in the draft at this point. How do you pass that up?
Mickey, how do you think the trade for the Panthers, where they got, I was going to say Joe Burrow, Sam Darnold, will affect the Cowboys at 10 now that the Panthers are off the quarterback board?
Well, first it'll affect the Cowboys because the one time they played Sam Darnold, he threw for 320 some yards on him and a 92-yard touchdown pass. So now they got to face him again, right? Because they do play Carolina. I think it affects the fact that somebody's going to trade up, and I still think that somebody's going to trade up and take a quarterback if indeed that takes place. And as many as, what if 5 quarterbacks go in the first round? I mean, the first 10, and 2 offensive linemen, 2 wide receivers in Pitts. That's 10 people. So the Cowboys would have, the pick of the best defensive guy that's on the board. And I would think that you couldn't sit in a better spot than that. So it sure sounds like a lot of quarterbacks are going. I went back and looked, you guys, and since there is a possibility, I'm not sure what Atlanta will do, of the first 4 picks being quarterbacks. And I went back as long as the draft history is tracked, and I could not find another year where the first 4 picks were quarterbacks. I found the first 3 picks being quarterbacks, 71 and 99, but never 4 straight. So I think, that may affect how this whole thing goes now, with everybody scrambling and trying to move up, if one of those quarterbacks starts falling. And who knows? There may be one of those top 5 quarterbacks sitting there available at 10. And who knows what somebody would pay for that. So I think the Cowboys going to have to be quick on their feet at number 10, because it could be a very critical spot in this draft.
Mickey, I know there's a lot of signings around this time that, we focus on the big name free agents, but there's a lot of other signings that take place. What are your thoughts on Jeremy Sprinkle and the Cowboys signing him, I guess, about a day ago?
Yeah, I think that they just needed numbers at the tight end spot. and to get a veteran guy, because I'm sure they like the two guys with Dalton Schultz. The job that he's done. Jarwin coming back. They did like that McKeon guy, the rookie last year who made the team. But again, they did lose Blake Bell, and you had a veteran guy that was versatile, that was a pretty good blocker. So now you got like 4 tight ends. You would have needed another tight end or two, even if you got undrafted free agents signed, just to get through training camp. It'll be interesting, by the way, and McCarthy talked about this, are we going to have 80-man rosters or 90-man rosters for the offseason going, for training camp? So they needed numbers there, and I think that was one of the reasons they did that. And then, they needed probably another punter. Let's go. Let's challenge Niswander and see how he handles it in training camp. And you probably needed 2 guys kicking anyway. You don't want to wear out one guy. So I can understand why those 2 moves, very inexpensive moves, again, more one-year moves for basically no more than $1.5 million.
Mickey, what's going on with this numbers that certain positions now can have if they want single digits? What numbers in Cowboys history, although 88's been used, it's been very much, selective, and CeeDee Lamb has 88. What numbers in Cowboys history that are not retired, but people just don't need to wear them?
Well, I think if you went to training camp, and if I got my numbers right, if you're wearing 71, chances are you're not making the team.
Wow.
Bob Lilly, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, and if you make it, you're probably changing numbers because they haven't given that out. Same thing with 12. 8's been kind of, not a lot of people getting 8.
Only two, Mickey, only 2 people in the history of the Cowboys have ever worn it, and it was a random punter a couple years pre-Aikman, but nobody had worn it until him.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I don't think anybody's gotten it during the season after him, if I remember correctly. But here's what's going to be the problem. They're going to start running out of numbers at certain positions. Like, if these wide receivers and running backs want a single digit or a teen, well, what happens when the third quarterback shows up, and is he going to get like 23?
I love it. Yes, let's do it. Old school. Give him 86.
Right? Or whatever. Because you already, with the number of wide receivers and tight ends you have on a team, you run right through the 80s. And the same thing in the 90s with defensive linemen. Now you had defensive linemen last year wearing in the 50s. So yeah, it could get pretty confusing. So it'd be interesting to see how that. I just kind of got turned on to that yesterday about the numbers and guys, wanting to wear single digits. I saw, I think it was Zeke posed with a picture of 15 on Twitter today. I think isn't that what he wore at Ohio State, if I'm not mistaken?
Yep.
So now does he want to be 15? Well, I don't know. The guys in the equipment room, I think they're preparing for a headache. Mike McCord, who's done this forever, is probably sitting there scratching his head. He goes, "Okay, how am I going to handle all this?
But
and what's the league going to let us do too?
Yeah. The rule hasn't passed yet, though, right?
No, I don't think it has. I think it's been discussed, talked about. I haven't seen anything like official on it, but we'll see where this one goes. And then you're going to have trouble, identifying eligible receivers, non-eligible receivers. Depending on what the numbers are. The same thing with the quarterback. So yeah, it's but times change, and I know all the I call them kids, right? They're showing up at 21 years old. That's kind of a kid. all got these ideas of how they want to go, and the league seems to be changing as we speak. So we'll see where that one turns out.
Anything else, Paul? Craig? All right. Thank you, Mickey. Appreciate your time. Mickey Spagnola with us. DallasCowboys.com. As we close in on the NFL draft, we'll start to have more and more analysts, those who break down the prospects or whatever else. And speaking of the NFL, there was a horrible, tragic story today.
I'll talk about it.
Huh?
I'll talk about it.
Well, and that's perfect. Perfect lead in. Craig will be leaving sometime in the 5 o'clock hour to go to Baylor football practice. And on top of that, then Dejanay Carrington will join us after Art Strickland will join us from Augusta National, where Armstrong will probably come on the air and ask for free stuff, like free Masters logo shirts and caps. So Craig's off the radar, including the story that I was about to discuss. Good that he has it included. And this is SicEm365 Radio.
The First National Bank of Central Texas, 5 locations right here at home: Waco, Woodway and Hewitt, China Spring, Martin, Hillsboro. Familiar faces making local decisions. Here to help you, your family, and your business. Whether it's great times or tough times, all of us need a bank we can count on. Great people with great technology dedicated to their customers and helping our area grow. Safe banking in person or use their online and mobile apps. Convenient drive-through and ATMs at all locations. And look, they've got, they're the local bank, but they've got the technology that any of your big, gigantic national banks have, like the First mobile app. You do your banking wherever you want, check balances, make transfers, pay bills, and transfer funds. They also do great personal and mortgage loans. They helped me a couple of times in my life with that, and they were great with it. Mackie Bonner in particular and Link Harris really helped me out on those, and really, really great people at the First National Bank of Central Texas, 5 locations right here at home.
The Jeep Celebration event at Allen Samuels has special pricing on the new 2021 Jeep Renegade Latitude with total values up to $5,250 or 0% for 84 months. Or a special deal on a new 2021 Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid Limited with total values of $7,000 or 0% for 72 months. It's the Jeep Celebration event at Allen Samuels, the best place to find your new vehicle. Located at 201 West Loop 340 in Waco.
Come by. Let's be friends.
See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness was built to help give you a chance to enjoy elite tennis facilities and also remain fit or reshape your body. Now Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has gone through its own physical changes. There are 7 large flat screens stretched across the main and improved weight room with Wi-Fi available and their own app to enjoy news, business, weather, or sports channels. The beautiful sound of active treadmills and elliptical machines, group exercise classes throughout each day, a new ballet bar for bar classes, a new look lounge and bar with beer and wine with more large flat screens available. Touchless water fountains outside each spacious men's and women's locker rooms, showers, sauna, and whirlpool. Upgraded PA system throughout the world-class tennis courts and lessons for adults and juniors. I promise you'll look and feel better. You just need to walk through the front door. Also, Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. So start today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwood Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
It's time for Craig Smoak's Off the Radar.
SicEm365 Radio. We'll update the Masters at 5. Art Strickland on course. Baylor alum, PGA columnist. Brought to you by Bear Ridge Golf Course. The new Bear Ridge. Call 254-848-7800 or go to bearridgewaco.com to set up a tee time today just south of Waco on Highway 84. All right. Craig's Off the Radar.
All right, Will, we're going to...
We already played the Open.
We already did the Open.
I'm sorry.
So we're just going to take a look at some stories that maybe we don't typically have a whole lot of time for outside of our normal discussion. I just wanted to make mention that Tristan Clark has made it official that he will be transferring from Baylor. About 20 minutes ago, put out a pretty lengthy statement on his decision and what went into it, how grateful he is for the time at Baylor. And, just that he's moving on. He'll have his Baylor degree. So I know that was something that we talked about with him like 2 days ago. But Tristan Clark, will be interesting to see, who has interest and just how healthy he is and what he can contribute to another team. But glad that he's, giving it a shot and not just, wondering what if here in 20 years or so.
It was good to hear from him Monday. And I know how much he and the former players, all of the different ages, enjoyed it. But I wish him the best because his injury changed Baylor basketball when it looked like they were dead in the water because they always went to the bigs inside. It made them go small. It forced them to. And I hate it for Tristan, but it did make Baylor, in the weirdest, strangest way, so much better because they changed their style. But I'm glad he's going to get another chance.
Me too. But, his injury basically led to the team we watched the last 2 years in so many ways. A couple of true crime stories, and I hope this isn't like a weekly thing where we're talking about, former players getting arrested for things, but there's a couple of them this week, and you referred to one of them going into the break. This is an awful story out of South Carolina. Former NFL player Phillip Adams fatally shot 5 people, including a prominent doctor, the doctor's wife, and their 2 grandchildren. Adams then, I guess, turned the gun on himself and killed himself. Right now, everybody just searching for answers, but obviously CTE's been brought up quite a bit as potentially being a cause. I'm sure they will, obviously investigate and try to connect some dots, like why were they together, how did they know each other, those types of things, but... Yeah, former player Phillip Adams kills 5 people and then himself. Just an awful, awful story and a lot of CTE talk as a result of this one.
Unless you had it, you don't know. Sometimes you sit there and go, boy, that just seems to be now just kind of an easy excuse if you do something or you go through something, whether it's addiction or depression or whatever it is, or do what he did. But there's something that made him snap, something that changed who he was.
Yeah, the brain's a scary thing, and people who, you hear about a lot of, like Richard Ramirez, one of the most famous serial killers in American history. He had a history of head injuries. Like, there is some science that shows that, you get a severe head injury, it can affect the way that you think and change your personality entirely as well. It doesn't mean it's going to lead to something bad, but it can, and so I'm sure his brain will be studied quite thoroughly, but just an awful, awful story there. The other true crime story, we kind of mentioned this the other day, but Paul's alma mater, Travis Rudolph, former Florida State wide receiver, has been arrested on first-degree and attempted murder charges. He played for the Seminoles for 3 seasons. Just back 2014 through 2016. I know, Paul, you were just completely surprised by this. He was a guy who years ago went viral because he was visiting a school and I guess was an NFL guy at the time. And
he was still at FSU.
He wasn't? Yeah. Okay, he was still at FSU. Man, it was long.
Well, it's the same thing as being a pro.
Yeah, basically. But, yeah, he sat at a cafeteria table with the kid who was all by himself, and it was this big viral thing. And then, here years later, he's heading to jail. So I just know that you were surprised by that.
I was really surprised because he was known as was a good guy. I mean, there wasn't like a litany of problems. I mean, sometimes when you hear about guys who have problems after their NFL career or while they're in the pros, you go back to their beginnings, and they had some problems, and they just got worse and worse because nobody could ever get them the help they needed or whatever. And so Travis Rudolph's situation, I mean, the way it read was that he had an altercation with his girlfriend, and then I guess a relative of hers and some of his friends came to confront Travis about it. And as they were leaving the house, he stepped out in the yard with a gun and shot into their car.
Bad decision, and somebody lost their life as a result. So
when that story came down, I text Paul, and we were talking about, you need guys on the edge to win in college football, and we were just going back and forth. And then he told me who it was, and I got sick. I was, first of all, sick to your stomach anyway, but I was like, that was such a kind young man who took time with somebody that otherwise was probably ignored or made fun of.
Yeah, and I was thinking about what that kid must be thinking, that was such a cool thing. And then even the family as well. I mean, how much that meant to them. And then, a few years later, here's this guy, double shooting, one killed. And so that's the true crime portion. Two horrific stories this week in sports that I would really not want to talk about normally, but they are worth mentioning. You remember the old Sears Cup, like the Director's Cup, and it basically gave an award at the end of the year to
Stanford.
The college program that had the most success overall, the totality of sports. Well, I don't think they kind of sort of do that, the IMG Director's Cup now, but I don't feel like I ever hear anything about it. I looked at their website. It hasn't been updated since last year. But there was an article that was put together by College Football News ranking the best schools. They called it Hoops and Helmets 2021. And they ranked all the Division I schools based on their success both in football and in basketball. And, football got a little bit more weight because football's a little bit more important, let's face it. But Baylor named the third best Hoops and Helmets school in the country for the past year. Said, the football team had a struggle, which is why the Bears aren't a click higher, but you win a national title in basketball like that over an unbeaten juggernaut like Gonzaga, you get into the top three. So Baylor, 2-7 in football, but they won a national title, so they got a lot of weight for that one.
I would have thought that the national title, because football was so bad this year, would have put them up in the top 20.
Yeah, you would think so.
Yeah, that surprises me that has that much weight. But I love what they said. When you win a national title like that.
Yeah.
Because that's how impressive it was.
Well, and they gave consideration to Dave Aranda being a first-year coach in a pandemic. You do have to take that into account. But for what it's worth, the top school in the Hoops and Helmets rankings, Alabama. They won the national title in football on a historic, year, which is every year basically for Alabama. Then they won the SEC tournament in basketball and got into the dance, had the Heisman winner as well. So Alabama number 1, Ohio State number 2. Yeah, they won the Big Ten in football and then, finished middle of the pack in the Big Ten in basketball, but had a pretty good year. So just for what it's worth, that's just something that's, good positive publicity for Baylor to be ranked number 3 in the Hoops and Helmets rankings.
Today, it's interesting you say that. Scott Drew was on with Pat McAfee, who's a fun to watch. And he brings this up, and sometimes it's not thought of because you think of football, men's basketball. 14 of the 17 sports ranked in the top 25 at Baylor. And that's something that sometimes gets overlooked if your major sports aren't successful.
Yes.
And now the men's basketball team, with all due respect to anybody else, that just puts them on a different level.
Yeah, it does. There's been a lot of, obviously, transfer portal talk in college basketball, and then you had the change, obviously, with Chris Beard going to Texas. There's a lot of Red Raiders that initially had entered their name into the transfer portal. A couple of those guys have backed away, and as of not Chris Beard, but Mark Adams' press conference had let it be known they'll be coming back. But one of those who will remain to be seen and today announced that he will be heading to the pros is Terrence Shannon. Terrence Shannon announced that he's going to test the NBA draft waters. So he declares officially today he will do so without the representation of an agent. So that does allow him to return to school if he so decides to. But he was third team all Big 12, averaged around 13 points a game, 4 boards a game, and a steal a game. But yeah, really good player for Texas Tech, and they've been able to bring some of the guys back, but he was very good for them last year. So, Terrence Shannon headed, it looks like, to the NBA.
He was pretty good. Now,
yeah, he was.
Edwards was another one, wasn't it, that was pretty good for them that I saw he named?
I believe he's coming back.
Oh, he's coming back?
Yeah.
Okay, he was one of the ones. Okay.
It says Mac McClung's the big question mark. I guess they're waiting on with Mark Adams, which I'm sure Ashley Hodge would love another year of Mac McClung in a Red Raiders uniform. But, Kyler Edwards had entered the transfer portal. He's returning to Texas Tech. Kevin McCullough had posted something, but apparently he's announced that he's returning as well. And so it's just kind of been on and on. But McClung's the one, and then Shannon was obviously a big one as well. So Shannon is entering the NBA draft. Just a note there. WNBA draft, you mentioned that. It's coming up at about a week from now. And I know Paul's mock draft isn't finished yet, but there are a couple that are out there.
When do you start on that?
I never do. And so...
But it is worth mentioning, the number 1 rated player, what have you, Charlie Collier from Texas, which is why she won college basketball awards.
I did read Michelle Vopel's article about it because I was curious what she said. She's been on her show a bunch of times. And she said that Charlie Collier, it's kind of a puzzler to her because if you rank her, against the good competition like Baylor, it would scare me to make her the number 1 overall.
Anything against.
I mean, that's the number 1 overall pick, and it's one of my things about drafting anybody anywhere. In the NFL draft, like if you're all high for a wide receiver, and you're like, oh man, this guy's a stud. Okay, when he played against the best teams that he played against, when he played, if he's in the SEC, when he played against Alabama and Auburn and LSU. Did he have big games or did he score 1 6-yard touchdown?
Right.
That's why, Devontae Smith, probably a guy, even though he's small, you want to look at because he kicked everyone's ass. But if you were, had a bunch of games against Louisiana Tech where you had a big game, all right, well, maybe you're maybe not worth that pick that high.
Right, yeah. So Charlie Collier from Texas looked at as the number 1 pick in that draft, but I really only mention it because there's a couple of Lady Bears that are in the mix. ESPN has Dejanay Carrington going 12th overall to the Las Vegas Aces, which I believe is like the end of their first round. They only have, so many teams. But Dejanay looked at as the final pick of the first round. And then D.D. Richards, the 22nd overall pick to the LA Sparks. Can you all imagine Dee in Los Angeles?
Oh, they'll never be the same.
That would be perfect for her. But yeah, that would be a second-round pick based on the number of teams in the WNBA. But Dee looked at as a second-round pick. So that's kind of where her and Dejanay are both being viewed as of right now. And also wanted to mention LSU. An official has sued the school for $50 million, alleging retaliation over the Les Miles allegations. $50 million federal racketeering lawsuit. And LSU associate ADs accused officials at the university of retaliating against her for reporting racist remarks and inappropriate sexual behavior by former Tigers head coach Les Miles. She said she was denied pay raises, subjected to verbal abuse after going to officials with the allegations, including her accusation that he told her there were too many black girls employed in athletics, and it goes on and on and on. So getting down in the mud here with LSU, and now, somebody else filing a pretty massive lawsuit. So I don't know. I mean, the future for Les Miles doesn't include a head coaching gig anywhere anytime soon, but it remains to be seen on where exactly this will go and what effect it might have on LSU as well. But certainly will have one on him. So, yeah, $50 million lawsuit alleging retaliation over pointing out allegations against Les Miles.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff. And then you get a lawsuit, and then everyone, whether they're legitimate or not, and you got to give the we've seen it happening. Mm-hmm. You've seen them, and all of a sudden, well, I'm gonna get mine, even if it's. I'm not saying you'll always give the victim the benefit of the result, you hope is all legitimate, but it's like piranhas. Attorneys, they start going nuts.
Think about Deshaun Watson. So of these 22, there might be 4 that are super legit, and then 18 that just, I gave him a massage, I'm going to get in on this. You know, and so, and I'm not saying that's the case, but if you're one of the 18 who's jumping on, you're probably hurting the 4. Because if all Rusty Hardin really has to do is prove that 1 or 2 of them are full of it, and then the 4 that are actually victims are, well, how can we know that they're all not lying? That Tony Busby just didn't come up with this
scheme. Did you see what happened today? He filed an emergency motion or whatever, and I'm not legalese, so that he wants the names, that they need the names of like 18 of the 22, because he said, first of all, it was like against the law in the state of Texas to, wants to know who the Jane Does are, not for public knowledge, but so that they can do some of their own work.
Well, eventually they're going to have to tell them because they've got to, but they've got to build a defense.
The other guy, Busby, said, "Go, why don't you file a motion?" Rusty Hardin filed a motion. We'll see what happens with there. But he's lost some endorsements.
He's lost a bunch of
Beats
endorsements.
headsets and a couple of others yesterday.
But yeah, and Nike, but that's how it is. And look, we saw that over here at Baylor was, there are a lot of people who needed to get paid by Baylor. There were several that did, but there were some that really didn't. And what happens then is that if you've decided to jump in this, there are people who really, really need help that you have hurt, because all it takes is one. The Duke lacrosse case was one of the most damaging things to real victims of sexual violence that's ever happened. And it was so outside the realm of possibility, but all you have to do is bring that up, and people are like, well, they could be Duke lacrosse.
I mean, anytime you start to even question the validity or question the facts, you get you should just believe everything that a victim says. And, I agree to an extent, but I don't agree fully, no, because, it's just human nature for there to be bad people. So, I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt until information tells me otherwise, but I'm not just going to blindly, believe every single thing that I ever hear and blindly follow along with that. And I can think of one person during the Baylor ordeal who came out that I know absolutely had nothing to even do with anything related to football or anything else, and this girl basically just used it for attention. I'm sorry to say, but I'm really not, because I can think of the person right now who absolutely took advantage of the situation to put the attention on themselves, and she had nothing to do with football in any way, shape, or form. And so, you do have to be mindful of that. Unfortunately, there's terrible people like that.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I there's obviously something there with Deshaun Watson,
for sure.
That might, I don't know if it's psychological or something that's just predator. I don't know, but I think that I think it's safe to say that there's a lot now that are jumping in, because that's what happens in the legal system. All right, when we come back, by the way, the NCAA volleyball national tournament won't broadcast. There'll be no broadcast crews or commentators. They'll play in a convention center, no locker rooms until the Elite Eight. So players will get dressed or whatever, basically, or changed on the bench. At least you watch what happens there. You talk about now the NCAA facing some heat.
Well, they'll probably just get ready and they go to the hotel. And then come.
Emily Eamon, I don't know exactly where she's from, but she's I like to add all matches are being played on the convention center. But she also mentioned something that I thought was very interesting about the surface. They're playing a sport court layered over cement flooring. This is high risk for injury, not suitable for player safety, especially players jumping repeatedly. And so
we'll have to ask Katie about that.
Instead of wood, it's on cement. Yeah, we'll get Katie Stager's opinion on that tomorrow. Now, when we come back, we'll have Art Strickland from Augusta National on the wreckage of many big names so far. And some of those names are on the course. We'll get that from him. Dejanay Carrington at 5:20. This is SicEm365 Radio.
If you are looking to sell your home or buy a new one, my good friend Lance Donaldson of the Donaldson family team, brokered by eXp Realty, is here to help. Lance is a fantastic dude. He is going to find out everything about your family. He's going to help you find that perfect dream home. He's going to ask you great questions. You're going to love hanging out with Lance. Lance is a fun guy. He describes himself as someone with a unique perspective, and as soon as you meet him, you will know that about him right away. He has a very unique perspective. That's the kind of guy he is. And look, I'll tell you, just personally, he's very dedicated to any cause that he's in. So he just adopted a couple of Chiweenie dogs, which are half Chihuahua, half weenie dog. And the amount of effort he puts into training and raising those dogs will blow your mind. That's the same kind of thing he is with everything. His life, his family, whatever it is, that's Lance Allison. So give him a call, 254-214-3713, or online at lanceallison.exprealty.com.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, everyone. This is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like mortgage lending, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The 5 o'clock hour is brought to you by Edward Jones and financial advisor Cam Heathcott. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
And the 2020 Masters. The long-awaited Masters has a long-awaited champion in Dustin Johnson.
SicEm365 Radio's coverage of the Masters from Augusta National in Augusta, Georgia is brought to you by Bear Ridge. Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Bear Ridge Golf Club. Call for a tee time today at 254-848-7800 or BearRidgeWaco.com. What Tommy Tompkins and his group have done there is bring back the life to a golf course that used to be so good, and then it basically was dead, and now he's brought it back to life like Scott Drew did the men's basketball program. Now we're joined by Art Strickland. He happens to be at a place called Augusta National. Art Strickland, Baylor alum, joins us on SicEm365 Radio. Dejanay Carrington in the next segment. Art, my goodness, is Justin Rose trying to just embarrass the entire field with what he's doing right now in the back nine?
Well, he's a world-class player, David. I don't think it's comes as surprise. I mean, won the U.S. Open at Marion Golf Club, another world-class course. I mean, certainly here, and I think that people think he's just a one-day wonder and paying attention. I mean, world-class player, world-class guy. Had some back trouble, has overcome that. Won a Colonial a couple years ago. Like I said, won the U.S. Open. So, the last player to win the lead solo. Dustin Johnson was in the lead all 4 rounds last year, but he had one of those rounds. The lead solo wire to wire was Raymond Floyd. And so he's obviously going to have I would say 4 shots, maybe 3 at the least, lead going into Friday. So certainly got to look out for and a guy to not think he's going to go away after just one day.
Art, why have the players that are in the later groups today not figured out the greens yet like the players in the earlier groups did or didn't?
Well, yeah, I think that one thing is it's certainly windier here in the afternoon. It's become a little overcast. The clouds have moved in, a little bit windier. And, for people who have been to the Masters before, like, Doug McNamee, who's a regular here, and others, the wind swirls at Augusta, but there are so many huge pine trees that you might not see it looking at the flag. Most golf courses, you can see the flag, see which way it's blowing, and kind of plan your plot of attack from there. But Augusta has so many huge pine trees, the flag may be dead limp, but the wind is swirling above hand. So wind plays a huge factor here, and it's gotten windier today. It's going on. It's gotten firmer and faster.
Yeah,
I think you see that reflected in the greens. You see that reflected in the fairways. You've seen a ton of guys hit the green with their shot and bounce over. And that's just how firm and fast things are.
Why are the greens so spotty?
Again, I think that's just kind of we have an exhibit of the firm and fast conditions. They had a very mild winter in Augusta.
Right.
The big snows we had in February, they didn't get that. It's been very warm for the most part. They've had very little rain here. Hasn't rained in about a week in Augusta. And, predicting rain for possibly Friday and Saturday, but no rain here. So, again, the greens are just reflecting the lack of moisture. Augusta will not come in and drown the greens with water like some courses do, because they don't want to play under the wind. I think that was an aberration when Justin Johnson was playing under par last year, because it was the fall and it was very wet. The air was heavy. So we're seeing almost British Open like, with the conditions and the lack of rain, and we don't get rain for the rest of this weekend. I'm telling you, Smokey, you're going to sing single digit under par win this thing.
Yeah, because sometimes some guys go out there and Jordan Spieth and Tiger and others that just dominate that course because the par fives are basically not easy, but you get on a roll, you could go pretty far deep. We have Art Strickland. He's at Augusta National. Right now, Justin Rose is on 18. He's 7 under par, up by 3 right now on the field here at the Masters in the opening round.
What do you make of Spieth's opening round so far?
I think a lot of what you've seen before, a lot of real creativity, but it just shows you at Augusta, maybe more than any other course out here, there is a disaster on every hole. There's a lot of courses, Paul, that say, avoid this hole or avoid this trouble spot, or here's what you got to watch out for. But at Augusta, that's 1 through 18. And you saw exactly what happened when he made triple bogey on the 9th hole. You know, he hits it into the woods, and instead of chipping it out, which would have been the smart play, he tries to, you know, cut a 5-iron through the woods, hit the branch, goes backwards. Then he gets on the greens. Well, the greens are so fast, and that's another exhibit of permanent fast conditions. He 3-putts from 5 feet because he shoves his first putt further than he had coming back. So I think a lot of what you see, but there's a disaster waiting on every hole. And so the fact that, you know, Justin Rose is going to lead about 3 or 4 going into Friday, that doesn't mean that he's on free. That means that he's got 54 holes of terror, and he's got a back 9 on Sunday, which usually winds up deciding the winner.
Well, you mentioned Spieth on number 9. One of the things I've noticed, and it's because the greens are so fast and hard, is that there aren't many tap-ins. There's usually, because of the way that course is set up, there are tap-ins. Not that everything's easy, but there do seem to be more of those 3 to 5 footers right now that people are having to make for par and even bogey.
Really is. And, you know, the greens, even the greens are not as clean, I think, as most people are used to seeing. They're fast, or maybe even faster, because, like I said, the wind's blowing. It's already dry here. The wind is drying out things more. And, you know, if we don't get rain that they're predicting on Friday and Saturday, I really think you're looking at a very low-scoring weekend. Zach Johnson has the record for highest score to win a Masters in the modern era, and it's 5 under par when Zach won. So
yeah, but it was freezing. That was the weekend. It was cold, wasn't it?
Right.
It was nasty cold.
No doubt.
Brutal. Yeah.
Cold. And it was also blowing. It was blowing 20 miles an hour. And you ask any game, they would have 10 times rather play in a steady downpour than they would in score when wind, because you just don't know where the wind's coming from. And especially here at Augusta with the big trees blocking the wind and not being able to tell from the flags. I mean, a lot of holes, 12 is a prime example of that. You know, 12, you look at the flag, it looks dead limp, you hit your shot, and it's blown way off course because the wind's coming in over 11. So that's another reason why older players like Justin Rose, who's 56 rounds here at Augusta in tournament, do well because they have so much experience at this course, and this course demands so much experience. So guys like Bryson DeChambeau, who wants to make it a par 68, wants to show how hard he can hit it or how cool he is, he just doesn't have the experience around here to be successful, and that's why he's 5 over par and maybe looking for a weekend tee time at Bear Ridge this week.
The way he's playing, I don't think he'd go under par there either. I saw this note. Justin Rose ties Jack Nicklaus for the most first-round leads or co-leads in the history of the Masters.
Wow.
I did not know that.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's
I didn't know that either.
All right, anything else, Paul?
Nope.
All right, again, Art, you know I wear a large. Bring back one of those real pretty Augusta logos. I'll give you, if you buy it for like $80, I'll give you $60 for it. Because I know you probably paid $50. Enjoy. I guess to finish it off, it's great that there's patrons there. It's a little bit more lively. It's not the same, but my God, it's Augusta National. It's April, and the first round is coming to a conclusion over the next hour or two. Thank you, Art. Have fun. Enjoy the weekend.
Good. I'd buy you a shirt, Smokey, but I spent $50 on a national championship T-shirt Monday night. I still haven't recouped yet. So.
I believe me, you are, a lot of Baylor fans are going to look at their bank account here pretty soon and go, my God, it's like Jack just walked out and like, I want to buy more. Thank you, Art Strickland.
Yeah.
Thanks to Bear Ridge Golf Club for sponsoring our coverage of the Masters at Augusta National. Again, just on 84 south of Waco. Tee time at 254-848-7800. When we come back, she's headed to the WNBA. We had Dee Dee Richards on Monday. Dejanay Carrington, she was great for Baylor this year, and she's next on SicEm365 Radio.
I hate my job, but I don't mind getting up in the morning. I dread each day, but I can't wait to get out of bed. You ask me why, and what I'll say to you is true. Well, you can get breakfast tacos at Rudy's Barbecue. Scrambled eggs and brisket, they ain't fooling around. Sausage wrap, son, they're the best in town. Barbecue for breakfast, yes, it's true. Put a smile on your morning at Rudy's Barbecue. Next in line.
It's a name and a memory that called us back. It's a belief and a labor that will carry us forward. It's a time and experience that will make you return. The new Bear Ridge Golf Club, a space revitalized, a course restored, a new experience. For a tee time today, call the Pro Shop at 254-848-7800. Go to BearRidgeWaco.com, just south of Waco on Highway 84. Come join us at Bear Ridge Golf Club.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at TexasTrialLawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
What you do in privacy is your own business. What you do in public with your truck, well, that's our business at Pickup Outfitters. In your garage, it's okay for your truck to parade around in the nude with no accessories. Hey, this is still America. But when you bring your truck out in public, it's just common decency to put an outfit on your truck. And that's where we come in at Pickup Outfitters. Put a cover on that bed. Cover your rear end with a bumper and a hitch, for goodness sakes. There are women and children on the roads. And guys, don't leave your tools exposed. Put them in a toolbox. Be proud of your truck and stand tall with a lift kit. Or improve your truck's posture with a leveling kit. Add some class to your pickup with new wheels and tires. Or dress up for a date with your new RV or boat with a fifth wheel or a receiver hitch. At Pickup Outfitters, we're dedicating to making the roads decent for all Central Texans. So when taking your truck out in public, remember your manners and accessorize it properly with an outfit from Pickup Outfitters. 220 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobbettes, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasoning, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
This is SicEm365 Radio. Text us at 254-339-1122. The SicEm365 Radio text line is sponsored by Riverbend Liquor and Wine, with the most extensive variety of craft beer in Waco. A hidden gem on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street.
All right, here we go, this 5 o'clock hour. Craig Smoak on his way to football practice, spring drills. Dennis Johnson is the coach who will have a media session a little bit later on. We'll have some of that for tomorrow. Well, in the time you had a chance to get to know Dejanay Carrington, remember when the news came? In fact, we were fortunate. We might have been a day ahead of it when Dejanay was about to transfer from Stanford to Baylor. We had her on the show and got to know her well, and then she had a great year at Baylor. She was brilliant. And she joins us now. She's about to enter, or will enter, and has entered the WNBA draft on SicEm365 Radio. You weren't at Baylor long, but you made an impact, no question about it. What was your year like, and what was Baylor like for you?
It was an exciting year. I'm super glad I made the decision to come here. Obviously one of the big things with Baylor women's basketball is the amount of fans that come out to the game. So that was the only thing that I felt like I missed out on, was just the fans and the love that the fans have for this team. But I enjoyed this time so much, and the fans that I was able to meet and interact with truly have shown me that it would have just been crazy if COVID wasn't going on. But I loved my time here.
Dejanay, how much did you improve as a basketball player in just this year?
I mean, I improved a lot. I think a lot of it was just mental improvement and just maturing in the game, IQ, learning how to play under a different system and learning on the fly because with COVID, I wasn't able to really play or learn my teammates prior to the season beginning. So a lot of it was learning as I went, and I think that'll help me so much for the next level.
To come into a school, a program that is so good and has been dominant, from one that was the same in Stanford, where you were in their history, in fact, winning it this year, but you became a go-to player. Yeah, Nalissa was an All-American and won Player of the Year in certain awards and won the Big 12 Player of the Year, and others who got attention as well. But it got to a point where I thought you were the one, and of course, they wanted you to have the ball at the end of the game against UConn, that you became a go-to player when the game was on the line, when it was close, which was not very often. What did that mean to you, that you earned that respect?
It wasn't surprising to me because I know what I'm capable of, and I just know that whenever I'm healthy, that what I can bring to a team, and whatever team that is. And luckily for me, it was Baylor this year, and previously it had been Stanford. So it wasn't really like a surprise to me. It was good that I was feeling that it was being recognized, and that all that hard work in the off season didn't go unnoticed.
Dejanay, when did you develop that first step to the ball on defense where you have that quick twitch and you can just go?
That's so funny. I've been doing that forever. It's really, I don't know. It's a game, honestly. It's a game, and you just kind of lull them a little bit, and when that ball's out there, you just go for it. I don't really know. There's really no, like, I can't really teach somebody how to do it, and some of my teammates were like, how do you do that? Like, show me. But it's really just an instinct, and you see the ball out there, and you just take a chance. Sometimes it's either, honestly, I feel like it's either going to be a foul, you're going to get scored on, or it's going to be a steal. There's really no in between. So you got to pick and choose.
You have entered the WNBA draft, and I would think that you have a chance to be very, very good. I think that your style, I think how you can play physical, and I think your body style as well fits what they need. What have you been told by those who maybe have told you, okay, this is what you might do, or who might be interested in you?
Yeah, similar to what you just said, is just my body physique, my ability to play defense and offense and score in a multitude of ways is very alluring to the WNBA scouts and coaches and stuff. Also, just how I don't ever shy away from contact, whether that be defensively or offensively. That's what a lot of teams really like about me right now.
Dejanay Carrington, Baylor senior, who's declared for the WNBA draft, on with us at SicEm365 Radio.
Is it a little intimidating that you don't have a whole lot of time to think about it? I mean, the NBA draft is months from now, and these guys have some time to think. You have a week and a half.
Yeah, it's everything happened so fast. We had literally maybe a day or two to decide from our last game to even enter into the draft, and now the draft's just a week away. So everything's happening super fast. But once we are able, like me and I guess J.D, like on our team, once we're able to just get in training camp, I think that the rest will speak for itself. And so we're just excited to get to that point and kind of get settled.
Did you talk to J.D and vice versa about your decisions?
Yeah, we did. We chatted with each other. During the season, we tried to not talk about it too much because we really wanted to stay focused on the here and the now with trying to win a national championship. But after the season, we did discuss it and just kind of see where each other's heads were at and how we could help one another, bounce ideas or questions off of each other.
Do you think that you'll ever get over the end of the UConn game?
How do you? You know, I just know in my heart of hearts that I would have made at least one of those free throws, and I think we would have won in overtime. But I think I would have made both. But I'm just saying, I know for a fact I would have made at least one of them and given us a chance to play in overtime. But things happen in life that are out of your control.
Mm-hmm.
That being one of them, DD's injury being one of them, and, you know, different things throughout the season, which led to us getting a number 2 seed. So, you know, you just live with it, and I'm seeing what's going to come from it that I needed to learn, that we needed to learn, that we couldn't have learned another way.
You know, I asked you this because it was such a shocking end to what was a great basketball game. Did you eventually just pass out that night when you went to bed, or is it something that you had that you tossed and turned and that went over your head and through your mind all night long?
Definitely just tossed and turned, you know. I still haven't been able to, like, cry or, like, feel any of those type of emotions yet because it's honestly so unbelievable. Like, you guys, everyone saw at the end of the game how, I mean, I didn't really have a reaction. It was just like, no way you didn't call that. Like, I was just surprised. Honestly, I couldn't have, like, anger or, like, I don't know, any type of rash emotions because I was genuinely just surprised that wasn't called based off of, like, what I know I felt and what happened. So, I stayed up that whole night. Like, I probably slept minutes. I don't know how many minutes, but definitely not hours.
It'll hurt my head thinking about, like, just the still shot of it. Well, it hurts my head to think about because I'm like, I don't know. And I mean, you're the one who got hit in the face. So for you, I can imagine I'm just some guy watching it.
Yeah, I mean, and the picture that's really surfacing is a photo that definitely shows the foul, but I think the baseline view is the best view of where the bigger foul was. But nevertheless, you know, I digress.
Yeah, and I know it's hard to go back over it again, but it's just such a dramatic finish. We had Dee on Monday, and obviously, you know how emotional she is. Now, I got to ask you this: you as a team, and thank you for your time today, because I know you got a lot on your mind, a lot of things to get ready for. But as a team, you have a bunch of characters on that Baylor team. And I mean, it was amazing. And I even asked you this. I asked Dee this one time, the way you all started competing for the longest eyelashes or maybe the fingernail colors, was that something that was kind of like just unspoken that everybody just, because it was, you guys really just looked good in what you were doing?
That's so funny. Thank you. But that is funny. No, I mean, you know, it's never a competition with those types of things. But coming in before I even got here, I always had my lashes done for the past, like, 3 years. I always wore nails when I played. So it was cool to come to a team where it wasn't as, like, shocking to see. Because at Stanford, no one else wore lashes or, like, kind of longer nails that I have. But I don't know. We never, like, competed about it. We always were like, hey guys, like, I'm going to get my lashes done today, make your appointments, that type of thing. Like, tried to make sure everyone was well kept.
Well, Dee said she had to get her game better. She had to, you forced her to raise her game. And you know how sometimes she would even say that she was girly, you know, that she was always kind of prancing. So that was awesome. I got to tell you, you were fantastic to cover. Appreciate the very first interview you did with us when you decided to come to Baylor, and we wish you the absolute best, whatever you do, and good luck with the NBA, the WNBA, and the draft.
Thanks so much.
Dejanay Carrington, man, she was fun. She was really good. She became dynamic. And remember, they have some players like Kamara McDaniel. I don't think she was able to play because of the ACL, who's there. And, of course, we saw a little bit of some of the others. Owens, Jaden Owens, and a couple others. But They'll reload, and they got the Dowda coming in from Arkansas.
They'll reload, and they're pissed. I mean, like, that's the thing. You got an offseason where you're like that for Coach. Not that Coach Mulkey needs to do this all the time, but I'm sure she's had teams that were harder to motivate than others. The players that are watch that happen that are coming back, they're going to be pissed.
No, yeah, and they have a right to be. The men were not pissed, but they fed off the fact that they were shut down last year. Yeah. So did a lot of others, but the women can feed off the fact how this thing ended.
The men, it was unfinished last year. Like, it was open-ended and unfinished. And for the women, there's two things for the Lady Bears. One, you obviously have the way that game ended, but two, the only reason they were a number 2 seed is because they lost to Iowa State a day after they got eligible from COVID.
Right.
So if they had won that game, they'd be a number 1 seed. And I've always, for whatever reason, and you saw that the men's, selection committee take those things into effect when they looked at seeding. But for whatever reason, the women's committee did not.
Yeah, the fact that they had UConn and Baylor, and we could say this before the tournament, it sounds like you're bitching and moaning and whining, but when they had UConn and Baylor in the same region, it was stupid. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean we're trying to say the other number 1 seeds didn't. Sanford was the overall number 1 seed. They validated that. It doesn't mean the others didn't earn it, but having them in the same region was stupid.
Yeah, it felt very much to me like when they put A&M in there with them
back in 2011. Yeah, you're right. When they had beaten them 3 times that same year. And perhaps that was not good for women's basketball. That was a great game, and they got a lot of attention. They got a lot of even the foul. Even if you're a Baylor fan, that play, the way it ended, gave women's basketball a lot of attention, and they need it. It doesn't hurt, but and for the wrong reason. Now, coming up next a little bit later on, Paul's 5 at 5:55. We'll update the Masters, the leaderboard. I have no idea. I know Justin Rose is 7 under. We'll let Armstrong tell us what's going on because that's all he's paid attention to throughout the show today. Or how can he eat yet another piece of cake when he gets home that I ordered for everybody? And yet, not here. Here is a tweet. Did you see this, Armstrong, that I sent you the email? Did you get that? I sent you an email that this is interesting. This is dated June 29th of 2017. And we'll wait for Armstrong to put this up. Did you see this?
Yeah, I saw it.
When did you send me the email?
I just did.
Right now.
Got it?
No, don't see it.
Okay, well.
Here, hold on. I might get it to you a little quicker here. Hold on. Okay.
Yeah, I did. But let's break. You want to break here and come back with it? Because we have one more break to get to. Mm-hmm. Let's break here. Here is a tweet that's I don't know who even pulled this up from almost 4 years ago from a Gonzaga basketball player on getting an offer from Scott Drew and Baylor that I think might be a little bit interesting for some of you, perhaps not. This is SicEm365 Radio.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like instant issue debit cards free at all of our banking centers, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Lender.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trust the doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
SicEm365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
All right, thanks to Dejanay Carrington. Also, if you did not hear earlier today, Corey Jefferson, former Baylor power forward, he was thrilled. Every former player, it's almost like you're interviewing different people, different ages, different eras, different times, different type styles, and all of them have the same message that they are in love with Baylor men's basketball. Scott Drew, Jerome Tang, and others are part of it. And Charlie Melton, and I know there's other coaches as well. Isn't it the same? Mm-hmm. What is that? Is it like a same song, different verse or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's, the negative way is same bleep, different day, but I mean, it's just, but it's still, they just keep saying it and saying it and saying it. And, consistency, the way that they're, to a man, it's weird that, and I'm sure we could, we dug deep enough, we could find the people who didn't have a great experience with Scott. Even the guys who transferred, I think, were very well supported by him.
And I wonder what Lauren Roberts and John Lucas III are thinking.
Well,
they left when they should have left, or or had a reason to leave.
And they both had. they were both really good players.
Lawrence Roberts was. And John Lucas III.
John Lucas III played in the Final Four that year because Oklahoma State went to the Final Four. So, or at least the year. He played for that team, and so, that was completely understandable. Even had they stayed, that team still wasn't going to be very good.
I bet they are all happy.
I'm sure they are. I'm sure they are. But you had to make the decision you had to make, and so that like the guys I think about, like LJ Rose, who didn't work out here, who was the guy who was supposed to be a good dunker and didn't really. Two of those.
I know.
They went to like 3 or 4 schools.
He went to Missouri eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, that like didn't work out, and that's fine. You know, sometimes it doesn't. Al Freeman, you know, he had a good year at NC State the next year, and that's where he's from, is North Carolina. So, you know, he was closer to home, so it made sense.
Wait a minute, what's going on, Armstrong?
Jordan Spieth did something.
I'm sorry,
Spieth chipped in
for an eagle.
Chipped in for eagle.
I think
back to one under.
I tell you what, he always has that one hole. He had the triple on 9, but he's not letting that end up being double then double. What he really is in a nice groove, and that's a hell of a. What was that on 15? Yep. Chipped in on 15. All right, Paul. Sorry for Armstrong's cheering section,
but I mean, so you're talking about 3 or 4 guys who didn't fit or you know, hit their maximum potential or just weren't fits, but everybody else, you know, and even guys who had some ups and downs, like Kevin Rogers, you know, had some ups and downs. You know, we've had him on before, and you know, playing for Scott Drew was a great decision, was a great thing for him. You know, look, Rico Gathers had some ups and downs, and I think Rico, just as a guy, needed a staff like the one at Baylor, you know, and you know, so those kind of things are all important. You know, I'm not sure there's a staff in the country that could have turned Quincy Acee from what he was into what he became because of how they worked on him.
If you're a big man, although Baylor's become guard-driven, you still have the same guys who were there that helped develop Quincy Acee, Corey Jefferson, and others. By the way, Tyson Jolly, who went to SMU. Remember, he was a Baylor guy. Went to SMU. He just committed to Iona.
And by
that where Rick Pitino is?
Yeah. By the way, Armstrong, go ahead and pull up that tweet that we sent you.
This is from almost 4 years ago. Drew Timme, in June of 2017, of course, one of the stars at Gonzaga, grateful to receive an offer from Coach Drew and staff at Baylor University. And I know the only thing about him I didn't like was when they were down 16 or 18 and he scored, and then he did the thing where he kind of like waves his mustache in the air, kind of a celebratory thing. That's kind of like being down 30-0 in a football game and scoring with 4 minutes left and spiking or dancing. I heard somebody argue that, though, that he was just trying to do something that was somewhat normal and maybe give his team a little bit of a lift.
Yeah, sometimes, though, it just doesn't play. It's not going to play.
No, it was a bad time.
And the other thing
is,
like,
down 19.
You're trying to do something and give him a lift, but then you do that, and it, you know, there's always the other side of the coin. You know, you know, when you.
Ken Temple, please take it.
Some Baylor fan, please take it.
Oh, my God. And then, of course, and he had a hell of a year and a career at Gonzaga.
And look,
has he made a decision on whether he's – I heard there's a high school phenom, a top like 5 or 10 guy who's looking at Gonzaga, and he'll decide based on what Drew Timme does.
Yeah. Well, and I think Drew needs to get a little bit more in shape, I think.
How are you not in shape in that offense that goes up and down the court?
But
You're talking about physically stronger?
Physically stronger,
Oh, yeah, because let me tell you something. They beat the hell out of him, and it wasn't because it was cheap stuff. They got in his cage. But T-Rex, of course, oh, my God, should have taken the offer, Timmy boy.
But, yeah, anyway. But, no, Drew, look, going to Gonzaga is still a great decision. You know, and – part of the kids from Richardson, I never begrudge guys who grow up in one place and then your heart wants to go somewhere else, far away to go to school. So you get something different. There are people who will never understand that. Like when they freak out, like, oh, how did we let this kid get out of Texas? Maybe the kid wanted to go to Washington or Syracuse or North Carolina. He just wanted to go far away. To experience something different. That's what college is about. Trying new things. You know?
Great. No, there's some that just want to get out. Some that want to, that it's in the lifeblood to go to a school. It's in an area that, and I never take any of that. And I know that, you know, fan bases, oh my God, you got to protect the border. Well, yeah, Texas does have to do that, but there are so many great players in Texas. It's hard to protect the border when there are teams that want the talent you raise and cultivate that's so good.
You know, like, you know, one of the reasons I grew up, you know, my dad is an Aggie, and I wanted to go to A&M really bad, and then, you know, I got kind of waitlisted there, and then Florida State was my second choice, and I had gone up there, and I really liked it. And, you know, what I liked about Florida State was at the time, my parents were still living in Fort Myers, and so I was like, it was just far enough away to where they couldn't come up like and surprise me. It's a 6.5, 7 hour drive from Fort Myers to Tallahassee, so that's not all of a sudden they're going to come knock on my door. It was going to give me some, autonomy and distance from them, although I could still go see them.
What were you worried about them surprising you with?
I mean, just coming and like jumping in, like I just wanted a little different. It wasn't anything against them. It was just, I was at a point, I was like, I just want
Because I know what would happen if they would have just show up at your place in Tallahassee, there would be consequences.
Well, believe me, they announced sometimes and came into the house, and
we were consequences.
We were not prepared. Like we thought you guys were coming later. It is later. Oh, it is. Yeah. It's 11:30. Crap. All right.
PM.
Yeah. But no, but then they moved here to Waco, and my dad kept thinking, "Oh, he's going to transfer to A&M. We'll be so close." And then somebody told him, Pete, he's at the number one party school. It's the national championship football game. Like, he's not coming. Like, you gotta let that dream go. You'll see him in the summer.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. But it's nice to have something different and you're away,
All right.
And look, had I gone to Texas A&M and they had stayed in Fort Myers, that would have been way away. So
sometimes you probably wish you had.
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I'm going blank on the guy that transferred from Baylor and ended up at Missouri, and he was a pretty good little guard, a little shooting guard. I believe he was a guard. Now, update the Masters, and then we'll have Paul's 5 at 5:55 here soon. All Masters updates today and tomorrow, and throughout the week, brought to you by Bear Ridge, a name and a memory that called us back, a belief and a labor that will carry us forward. It's a time, an experience that will make you return. The new Bear Ridge Golf Course and Club, space revitalized, a course restored, a new experience. Bear Ridge Golf Club just south of Waco on Highway 84, or go to bearridgewaco.com for more information. Justin Rose, 7 under, had an unbelievable 30 on the back nine, 4 shots ahead of Brian Harmon and Hideki Matsuyama, who finished a long time ago. All right, Armstrong, Will
Zalatoris.
Him and Christian are both 2 under par in the clubhouse.
But Zadenhout.
Him too. And then a couple of names of guys that you think would play well. And Patrick Reed won a green jacket. Both Webb Simpson and Patrick Reed are 2 under. Let's see. Tyrell Hatton, who haunted a lot of people at the last major championship.
The last 2 that we
1
did.
under. Here's a guy that's steady. Kevin Kisner. Not sure he can win at a Masters, but steady. Not get over emotional. He's even par. John Rahm, Schauffele, even par. Morikawa just finished. I think I saw where he's like even par right now or close to it. Par. Let me see. Victor Hovland, who I think started with a triple, 1 over. Let's go some of the names. Scheffler, 1 over. Matt Fitzpatrick is 1 over through 16 as his two-time champion Adam Scott. Didn't he win it twice? The Masters?
I couldn't tell you. Jordan
Spieth is now 1 under after chipping in for an eagle on 15. He at one point kind of like had some slippage on 9. Paul, Brooks Koepka finishes 2 over par, but the story is he finished, and it was hard to watch because he's obviously not 100%.
No, did you see him bending down?
And that is not the course to have bad knees.
No, it's very hilly. And did you see him have the way he had to kneel down to read the greens?
Remember when Tiger kind of had to?
Yeah,
like gracefully.
He looked like the cover of a Spider-Man comic. Where his legs. I mean, that's what he looked like. So yeah, it had to be tough, and he toughed it out. And he 2 over. There was when I text you, he went and raised creek, and I thought, well, here it goes. He's just in too much pain, but he made it at 2 over, and so
2-time champion Bubba Watson's
he's still
2
in
over.
It.
Yeah. Dustin Johnson, the defending champion, 2 over. I'm going to go through some of the bigger names. Molinari, who's the one that lost when Tiger won it 2 years ago, is 2 over. Fleetwood had an ace on 16, 2 over. Tony Finau's 2 over, 2 or 3 holes left, as is Justin Thomas. Here's the one that starts to get a little dicey. Jimmy Walker shot 3 over. Florida State's Daniel Berger 3 over in the clubhouse. Mickelson shoots 3 over. That's okay. It's manageable considering today the scores were high. Cameron Smith is slipping. 3 over with a couple of play. Let's see. Sergio 4 over. McIlroy 4 over. They're in. DeChambeau's 4 over with 2 or 3 holes left. Jason Day shot 77, 5 over par. Lee Westwood blew up 6 over.
Sung Jae-in is not going great.
Yeah, Sung Jae-in, he had a good start, but he's 5 over. So my team shot. Let's see, Cantley. This is a surprise. 6 over par.
Who had him? Did anyone draft him?
Rob.
Dang.
And then
that's tough.
You know what? Fred Couples 79, but God bless him.
You know what?
He's just out just strolling along at Augusta National.
I would love it if I don't have to really do anything over the weekend and everyone else misses the cut.
That might happen.
I don't know. I think my guys are
okay.
I think I'm okay.
Yeah.
It might happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the Masters update. And thank you, Nick, for listening. Nick Morgan, thank you for the note on getting Dejanay Carrington and then D.D. Richards on earlier as well. Roy Miller, remember Roy, the UTX? Ellison, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Shoemaker. Oh, I always get him mixed up. I think he was Shoemaker. I'm almost positive. Went to the University of Texas, played in the NFL. Yeah, Shoemaker. He's going to have his big camp coming up. They do this every year with a lot of former players who played in the Killeen, Waco area. But that camp is coming up. It's at Leo Buckley. You can go to nflcamp21.eventbrite.com coming up in early June 12th. That's like right before Father's Day weekend. Roy Miller's nflcamp21.eventbrite.com. It is a great camp with former NFL players. There might even be a couple of current players as well. We'll come back. Paul Catalina's. Oh, we done?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Gunny Hartman. Hey, it's Shoemaker. Yeah, I finally got that. I always get that. Tommy Harris is Ellison. Yeah, thank you, Gunny. All right.
This is Paul Catalina's Top 5 at 555.
All right, I wanted to bring Armstrong in on this one because we have these, we've had this talk about. These are top 5 golfers I'll never root for. Brought to you by Slapsticks Comedy Club, bringing the funny back to Waco. Follow them on Facebook. Kevin and Mike doing really funny videos every day about the progress of building the club, and you can see it genuinely come on. So, Armstrong, I'm curious. I know one of these you and I don't agree on, but feel free to jump in if I leave anybody off your list.
Okay.
So, number 5, Patrick Reed.
Absolutely.
Just bothers me.
5, I don't know.
No,
I think he
bothers you?
Yeah, it bothers me. Really bothers me.
Our good friend David Carter sent me that picture, and I never quite understood it. And then I realized it was a Patrick Reed and his wife in a car, and Armstrong hates him.
Yeah, Armstrong.
I cannot
stand we're on the same page here. Number 4.
5 is high. He should be.
Yeah.
Should not even be on the list.
No, he should be 1 or 2.
Okay.
Number 4, Bubba Watson.
What?
I disagree. I disagree with this.
Can't stand him. Drives me nuts.
I love the guy.
I don't know why. I can't explain it. There's something about him.
He's a goofball.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
He's coming from the guy who likes Brooks Koepka.
Yeah, I mean, look, if Brooks Koepka went to a different school, I might not feel the same way.
Yeah.
But number 3, Bryson DeChambeau.
Absolutely.
After, what was that event? Was that the PGA last year where he was up against the gate and trying to reinvent the wheel?
Wherever it was, he hit that shot. He flared it right into the creek, and then he flared another one, and he tried to get a drop or something.
He hit 3 to the same exact place. He was trying to go for the green, and he hit it out of bounds. Hit the same exact shot out of bounds,
right?
And then hit the same exact shot, barely inbounds in the same place,
like a foot away.
And he's always arguing with the rules officials and trying to just.
Well, I mean, and I felt bad. I felt genuinely bad for his caddy that day, going, "Hey, man, it's not working.
Yeah, let's just punch out. Yeah, take a bogey."
I'm surprised Armstrong kept talking because Jordan Smith was putting for a birdie.
Yeah, we'll take a pause here for you, Armstrong. Okay,
I think that's par.
I think he's in really, really good shape. Okay. That chip in on 15, we'll remember that on Sunday if he's a part of that final back 9.
Number 2, Sergio Garcia. This goes way back to the.
I can't stand him.
And when he was supposed to Sergio was supposed to come in and challenge Tiger and blah, 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 blah. And all these people this is the guy who's going to challenge Tiger. And he never did. I mean, outside of a couple of individual events.
Tiger nuked him.
I mean, just
And then when Tiger slipped because of various things, injuries, his personal life, Sergio made a couple of quips about him, and Sergio won the Masters. But Sergio knows that Tiger owned him like he did Mickelson and all the others as well.
And that brings me to number 1. Smokey, you know this one.
I'm changing.
You're changing?
I don't agree.
And maybe it's because they're not at the top and they're not because Tigers, he owned Mickelson. But then, Mickelson made that run with the Masters and became pretty prevalent there.
Yeah, I'll never, I've drafted him a couple times.
He's kind of known on tour by some of the players that what you see as fans, patrons, whatever, that's one guy, but it's not who he is in real life.
Yeah, I'm not going to say his nickname that they call him, but...
Who, Mickelson?
Yeah.
What is it?
Fig Jam.
Fig Jam?
Fig Jam.
What is, is that something that's naughty?
Yeah, if I'm good, just ask me.
Oh,
I have a
but
couple
he's
more I
won
can
like
add.
40-something tournaments.
But yeah, and look, I'm not saying he's not been a great golfer, but
I've changed on him.
Yeah, and it's not. I'm glad that he and Tiger have buried the hatchet, so to speak. But my favorite part of the Tiger documentary was how Tiger drilled himself right into his dome and the Masters. It was such a great story.
Yeah, he did. He really did.
Yeah.
All right.
I could add John Rahm. I could add Dustin Johnson. I was just scrolling through the players. Brooks Koepka, I don't like. Billy Horschel, I don't like. I have a lot of players.
Horschel's got a little of that in him, yeah.
John Rahm almost made the list, except he was my first pick. Our
So
Masters pool.
So now you are rooting for him.
Yeah, so I have to, he'd be number 6, but right now, it would be hypocritical of me to say he's on the top 5.
No one liked Phil Mickelson, loved Phil Mickelson like the late Butch Henry.
Oh, no.
We talked to him earlier about how it would be great for him to be here to experience the Baylor men's basketball championship. All right, thanks to, I'm going to kind of go backwards here, Dejanay Carrington. Thanks to Art Strickland from Augusta National. Thanks to, at 4:30, Mickey Spagnola. Thanks as well today to Corey Jefferson. Help me out, Grayson Grundhafer. I know I'm missing one or two others. Lovey Smith, Texans defensive coordinator. For Cole, who's here today. Great to see you, Cole Matthews.
Andrews.
Matthews. Why did I say Matthews? Gary Matthews. You made a great catch
at
with
least
it.
I'm a good
Cole,
boss.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I
know my intern's name.
Armstrong. Cole said, screw you. We're playing the music. Armstrong, Sims, Paul, Catalina.
Good
Craig's
job.
at football practice.
Good job, Dennis.
I'm David Smoak on Sic'em 440 or whatever we're called. 365 Radio. Good night.
Radar.
Want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com. Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
It's the Jeep Celebration event going on now at Allen Samuels. You'll find special pricing on a new 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo with total values up to $3,750 or 0% for 72 months. Also, check out the new 2021 Jeep Cherokee Latitude Plus or Lux with up to $5,000 in total values or 0% interest for 84 months. Allen Samuels, the best place to find your new Jeep. Located at 201 West Loop 340.
Come by. Let's be friends.
See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has been proudly serving Texans across the state for over 60 years. Call 254-772-8090 to find an agent who will provide a free review of your auto, home, and life coverage.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones.